Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Fell in Love with Yandere Ravel Who Will Kill Anyone movie. Before we start, please go support MaximAngel for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. She knew him since he was a child, he belonged to her. But her healthy love became obsessive when she saw him with other hitches. According to her, her love became contaminated and she is capable of killing anyone. She is capable of doing any crazy thing so that they are together. Chapter 1: Childhood. A child is seen crying in a park, but how did we get to this point? In a park, 3 triplets were seen playing in the park until 3 girls approached, but one of them fled when she saw the middle boy. Rias: hello, my name is Rias, I wanted to know if we can play? Issei: of course, the more the better, giving his panty-wetting smile. My name is Issei, she is my sister Izumi, and she is my other sister Satsuki. Sona: nice to meet you, I'm Sona and the shy blonde girl is Revel. After that moment they became very good friends, of course to the chagrin of their sisters who always watched with jealousy as those girls played with their Oni-chan. Time skip. 2 months passed after being good friends, but it all ended when the parents of the 3 came and told her that they were from important clans, and they came to an agreement that they would give them a lot of money if their 2 daughters each joined the entourage. But the final, when they analyzed them, they saw that Izumi had the boosted gear and Satsuki had the rotating copying eye, or as it is mostly known as Sharingan, a sacred gear capable of copying any magic as long as it has that element, and had its unknown evolutions. But Issei had nothing special. He became depressed but left when his 2 sisters and Revel hugged him, but when he saw Rias and Sona, they gave him a cold look that made him understand that they no longer wanted him as a friend, because despite his young age, he was a genius, but no one said it, because he was very humble. Time skip 1 year. This year Issei trained physically because he had plenty of intelligence, but everything was great, but he was a little hurt by the indifference of his parents because they were now very rich, and his ego got high, but the only thing that motivated him were his sisters and Revel. But one day everything changed. Flashback. Issei is seen in his room somewhat sad because his parents left him without food again, and he had to cook his own food until he saw his 2 sisters in their pajamas, but they were not wearing pants, only in panties. Issei did not care about this because it was not like that. But he was surprised when his sister Satsuki pounced on him and tried to kiss him, but he dodged it. Issei: what are you doing? In. Satsuki: nothing, I'm just demanding what's mine. Izumi, annoyed R. Satsuki just clicked her tongue at that, but Issei seemed very surprised. Issei: we can't, we're brothers, have you forgotten? Izumi: but we are all children of God, so everyone is a northerner, so it doesn't matter. Author: but what an insane logic. Issei: I'm serious. Izumi: me too, Oni-chan. Issei was about to leave, but his sister Satsuki's hand stopped him. Issei: I love Satsuki-ne. Satsuki: no. I'm sorry to yell at you, but we just want you to accept our feelings. Issei: I'm sorry, but I love you, but not in that way. You know that I am capable of giving my life for you, but I don't love you, Gomen. At that he received a slap from Izumi that left a red mark. Issei: tearing, why did you hit me? Izumi, with her hair covering her eyes, looked up looking upset, but what scared Izuku the most was seeing her green eyes shining, and she held him by the arms strongly. Izumi: because you are mine and I don't care if you don't want me, I will teach you to love me. Issei: scared, leave me, you hurt me. Izumi-ne, help me. Satsuki-ne. Then he turned around and saw Satsuki with red eyes and 2 blades. Satsuki: Izumi is right, if you don't love us I will teach you to love. At that the 2 began to laugh a little until this laughter became a crazy one that scared Issei, who in his last moment of fear went to just reach the forest and sat under a tree and began to cry. So we got to this, but I didn't know that this would be the beginning of his personal hell. Fin flashback. After what happened, his suffering began because his sisters told their parents lies that he hit them, although it was the other way around among others, and so it happened until Issei entered the Core Academy at the request of his sisters or threats that he should not be near them, but luckily they did not have to share a classroom to the hatred of Both, but luckily he did have to share it with Revel. But her sisters hated Revel for wanting to take away what was hers. But Revel didn't care, just like Issei. But it got worse when her sisters spread the rumor that he was a pervert and confronted them about it. Issei, why are you doing this to me? Izumi, you don't understand, it's so that no hitch gets close to you. Issei, why? Satsuki, because you are ours, you belong to us even after death. Issei, I don't care, Revel supports me. Izumi, annoyed that Hitch will leave you one day and you will realize that only we care about you, no one will love you more than us. Issei, you'll see how I'll become Ravel's boyfriend and invite you to the wedding. That unleashed his fury, beating him until he was bleeding on the floor, and they left. Everything was going wrong for Issei, but his only support helped him endure everything until something happened that would start the madness of a phoenix. Park. Issei and Revel were walking in a beautiful park, but Issei was all nervous that today he was going to declare his love to his years-long love Revel. Everything was going on like a normal date until they stopped at a fountain. Issei, Revel, these years you have shown me great friendship. Revel, if he's finally going to ask me. Issei, that's why today, Revel Phenex, you want to be my girlfriend. Revel, yes, after so much effort, finally. But at that moment Ravel's Tsundere side spoke for her. Revel, I'm sorry Issei, but I being the girlfriend of someone useless like you, don't make me laugh. Issei, crying, then why were you with me for so long? Revel, just out of pity, don't shut up, don't tell him that, just take it back and say yes. Issei, crying, okay then thanks for all these years of friendship, even if it was only out of pity. Revel was about to tell him that she will stay, but Issei ran away crying and it started to drizzle. Revel, crying, what did I do? Chapter 2, Big Change. Note plus Issei is in 5th year of high school. In the previous chapter, to clarify that I forgot, VY the Qua Academy is an entire institution, that is, it is from kindergarten to primary school to university. You see a very sad Issei crying in his room that was about to fall down, its walls that looked like there was an earthquake and they were too lazy to fix it, his roof that was leaking and had watermarks, and his mattress or 2 blankets that were on the floor, and his floor that were all splintered boards that some wood was broken. Unlike his sisters, who had their rooms well decorated with everything they wanted, and of course in their giant closet photos of him, or his clothes, mostly underwear, and many photos of Revel with X's on his eyes. He was crying until he heard the door open, revealing his 2 sisters in erotic clothing. Issei, they will also try to grape me today, please leave me alone. The 2 sisters looked at their brother worriedly because his eyes were almost lifeless, and what hurt the most was seeing that there was a little blood in his eyes from crying so much. Satsuki, worried, what happened Oni-chan? Issei, crying, haha, they were right, they were always right. Izumi, worried about what? Issei, Revel, I confessed to her and told her about my emotions. Then the 2 of them began to show their auras, which made the wood tremble, breaking it even more. And she rejected me. At these words they calmed down and rejoiced. Izumi, happy we told you Oni-chan, nobody loves you like us, I will only give you. Satsuki, if you just let yourself go and you will be happy, give us your heart, and never worry about anything again, you will have everything and us too. At those words Issei stood still, not knowing what to do, because although he would never admit it, his sisters' cold and cruel methods towards him always showed him that they did love him in a very twisted way. Besides, he had to lose his only pillar, he no longer had anything. Issei, I accept. At these words the 2 sisters jumped for joy and gave him a kiss. Izumi, you finally realized now, I think we should claim our prize for beating that stupid Yakitori. The 2 sisters looked at Issei with pink heart eyes and their breath could be seen. Issei, nervous, wait, we're going too fast. Izumi, no Oni-chan, you don't know how much we expected this. Satsuki, we waited so many years, it's time to claim what's ours. Issei, okay, but wouldn't it be better to wait, in the honeymoon under the moonlight? That made both of them blush and smoke came out of their ears. Satsuki, oh, you already think about getting married, but we will accept it this time, but next time, plus licks her ear, plus you will be ours. The 2 sisters went very happy to their respective rooms. Issei, what did I get myself into? But it can't be worse, right? Time skip. The whole school year passed, and the most curious thing was that Revel left, and for Issei it was hell for Issei. Flashback. I thought they would stop spreading the rumor of pervert, how wrong I was. Well then, and not satisfied with that, they revealed that he did not have any special qualities like his sisters, earning him the nickname of the Black Rat. What irony! And Issei decided to talk to them behind the abandoned building. Issei, sad, why do they keep doing this to me? I thought that maybe it was just that they would stop bothering me, but now they all hit me for not having power. Izumi, it's so you can see that no hitch will come near you, that only we love you, you don't need friends or anyone, just us. Satsuki, like she said, no one will ever love you. Is that stupid blonde talking to you? No. Issei remained silent, and his sisters approached and gave him a passionate kiss. Izumi, this is for you to be ours forever. At that, Izumi sharpened her teeth and gave him a very strong bite on the neck, making it bleed, giving a heartbreaking scream that luckily there was no one of the two crazy women. Izumi, your blood is exquisite. At that, the two of them leave without Satsuki doing the same before, and Issei is left lying there, bleeding a lot, leaning against the wall. Issei, crying, I never asked for this, why is it happening to me? Issei got up and went to his class, but everyone thought it was strange that he had blood, but they didn't care about that. End flashback. That's how that year ended, but now a new school year would begin and another hell for Issei. In the first few months it was the same as always, with no friends and suffering bullying. But in his third month everything went from the bottom to being underground because someone spread the stupid rumor that he sold information about the skills to other schools that competed against Kwa in the games that were held every year, and that the first to third year students of the Kwa Academy participated in. Which was still a separate sector of the school because that was where the training of their skills was specified. But returning with Issei, he was accused of selling information and was mistreated, but even his sisters punished him for according to the stupid rumors that he sold the information even from them. This earned more hatred from his parents, making him live in the basement, and they no longer gave him anything at all. If Issei's days were very bad, but he always saw the positive side and better. The fourth month a new partner named Kurumi Tokisaki entered. When she introduced herself, everyone recognized her because she was very famous, nicknamed the Worst Spirit. She was a woman who was kind but was very cruel to her enemies because she was trained since she was a child and is considered a Category A heroine. Note she has normal eyes for now. Issei was fascinated when he saw her because she was very beautiful. The teacher, to everyone's displeasure, including the teacher himself, sat next to Issei because there was no other seat. And everyone told her not to talk to the useless, mole, pervert, and many more insults, but she greeted him in a very polite way and they became friends the first day, but they kept it hidden. So that month passed, but the most important day for Issei arrived, and that was finishing off his sisters. Rooftop. Izumi, what do you want, Oni-chan? Issei, I want to talk. Satsuki, about what? Issei, we must finish. They were stunned, but with small tears they asked. Izumi, why? Issei, I would say that it's not you and it's me, but it would be lying to you. You hit me. Izumi, it's so you learn what you shouldn't give information to and not talk to hitches. Issei, they slander me. Satsuki, it's so that no hitch gets close to you. Issei, see you soon, little sisters. I hope someday you find love. At that moment Issei was retreating, but a lightning bolt from Satsuki hit him in the back, making him spit blood and crash into a wall. Satsuki, angry, you don't understand, you belong to us. Issei, I never belonged to them. Issei stood up and started to leave, but a dragon shoot from Izumi almost hit him if it weren't for Kurumi. Issei, thank you. Satsuki, angry, who are you, damn hitch. Izumi, annoyed, and get away from him, hitch. Kurumi, I'm nobody important, but I won't allow them to attack my friend. Satsuki, Oni-chan, were you cheating on us with this hitch? Issei, she is my friend. Izumi, if you are not ours, you will not be anyone's. At that moment Satsuki used her mature Sharingan and took out a katana, and Izumi used the balance breaker to hit Kurumi, but she defended herself well and used a gun and shot them, and they remained still. Issei, thank you. Kurumi, you're welcome. Besides, together until the end. Issei, together until the end. The two of them put their pinkies together, and then Issei fainted from the pain, and was healed by Kurumi rewinding his time. In the 6th month, Issei became Kurumi's boyfriend, and everyone knew it, and hated him because according to them he threatened Kurumi or several crazy theories. Time skip. It was the 7th month and Issei was happy because today was his 1-month anniversary as a couple, and he decided to spend all his savings on a necklace for his girlfriend, not knowing that today their relationship would end. Issei walked happily because he knew that his girlfriend was practicing at this time in the physical education room, but he didn't see her, and decided to ask his friends, who with a smile that gave Issei a bad feeling told him that she was in the infirmary. He thanked her and went to the infirmary, but when he was about to enter he heard moans and saw through the corner of the door that his girlfriend was with a 2nd year or older from the academy having sex that made Issei cry. Subject: when will you break up with that idiot boyfriend of yours? Kurumi: lust soon, I'll only use that useless thing for fun, but give me more. Issei saw how he came inside Kurumi and decided to enter. When he entered through the door, the two noticed his presence, and a frightened Kurumi saw him, and the guy looked arrogant. But Issei held back his tears and decided to speak like a gentleman because he wouldn't cry for someone who doesn't deserve it, or well, he wouldn't do it in public. Issei: hello, nice to meet you. Subject: well, mine isn't scum, what do you want? You already saw how I bucked your girlfriend. Issei: girlfriend? Subject: yes, to your girlfriend Kurumi. Issei: Gomen, she is not my girlfriend. If you said my ex-girlfriend, that would be correct. Subject: why don't you cry? Issei: he doesn't deserve my tears, and if this was for our anniversary it would be a waste. Issei gave the necklace to a crying Kurumi. Kurumi: it's not what it seems. Issei: I don't believe you. I hope you are happy because I will look for happiness in someone else. Goodbye. Issei was about to leave, but a murmur from Kurumi stopped him. Kurumi: whisper no. Issei: what? Kurumi: I will not allow you to go with another. You are mine, or forget it, together until the end. At these words Issei remembered his sisters and left, but the subject remained still watching as Kurumi gave off an aura of death. Subject: here we leave our best. The subject took his things and left while Kurumi stood still, and her gaze darkened and her eye began to cry blood, and she looked at herself in the mirror realizing the change. Kurumi: you'll be mine even if I have to travel back in time and fix this, ha 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 ha. Kurumi was left laughing, watching her left eye. I don't know if it was that one, bleeding and laughing like crazy. Time skip. In this 8th month Issei changed his attitude from a cheerful one that helped everyone despite being insulted at the end to a cold, lifeless one in his eyes that looked at everyone bored and handed in his homework despite being 3 times that of a normal student because everyone hated him and his great change in appearance. Thanks to his change, they now doubted that he was a pervert or the supposed mole, but they still continued talking about him. But Kurumi left the academy. But before leaving, she had an argument with Issei. Rooftop. Issei: what do you want, Tokisaki-san? Those words hurt him, and even more when he saw her eyes that saw him like an insect. Kurumi: I'm leaving school. Issei: so what? You want me to tell you, don't stop yet, I love you and I forgive you, we're not in a novel, Tokisaki-san. At those words she shed a few tears, but that further fragmented her sanity. Kurumi: okay, but I want you to know something. Issei: what? Kurumi: when I come back, you will remain chaste. Issei: I don't promise you anything, my sisters have been getting too close since we broke up. At those words Kurumi grabbed Issei by the neck, leaving him without air. Kurumi: never forget that you belong to me. Kurumi kissed Issei and then bit his neck, drawing some blood. Kurumi: your blood is delicious, and don't forget that you belong to me. Kurumi disappeared from Issei's sight, and he stood still and uttered a single word. Issei: another crazy girl. Chapter 3: Passing of Time. After Kurumi left, a long time passed, to be exact 2 years, because the Triaxa thing happened very recently, where all the countries, the 3 factions, and all the religions allied to defeat him, but the mastermind behind it all was always Issei, but nobody gave him even an iota of appreciation. Not even his sisters gave him that little appreciation. On the contrary, they gave him more hatred for being the weak one of the family. Nobody defended him, but he felt strange since Revel returned to the Core Academy, and he saw it strange. In fact, Issei declared himself to all of the occult club, including the student council, because he helped them and fell in love again and again, but they all rejected him in a very humiliating way, and he lost the reason for love. He saw it as something superficial that was not worth his time, and they all knew him as the Ice King because he did not show emotions, but sometimes he did show them fear. That was what he felt. Sometimes when a woman approached him, he felt afraid because many looks were seen of hatred. That is why he stopped talking to women but continued feeling that sensation. The only ones who gave him their thanks was Odin along with Thor, and his surprise was that each god thanked him because they were gods and they would not be stupid like the factions. They also wanted an ally because soon the meeting would approach where it would be decided if humanity lives or dies. This event was called Ragnarok, and they wanted Issei, the only human who is intelligent and does not need to attach himself to feelings to survive, because they could recreate them, but they wanted without fail. That is why they wanted Issei to go with them, but he said no. Olympus. Note, they are the same as Shimatsu no Valkyrie except Odin. Zeus. And tell me, Issei-kun, have you already decided? Issei. Yes, and I'm sorry, but I don't want to be a god. Odin. Why? Many would wish for this. Issei. It would be an external help, and I will ascend to deity with my own hands. Thor. Worthy of admiration. Issei. I'm sure they'll feel no energy when I ascend to deity. Zeus. How are you so sure you can become a god on your own? Issei. I don't know, but I'll try, and if Hercules manages to become a deity, why can't I? See you later, gods. At that, Issei turned around with a backpack in hand and began to walk and made a hand gesture as a farewell. Zeus, do you think I did it? Odin. Issei will surely do it in 2 months. Apollo bets, that interests me. Hermes. Haha, my good friend will do it in a month. Ares. He is a formidable warrior. I think he will do it in a year. That and more bets were heard. Odin. Whoever guesses correctly will be given all the money from the bet. And how much did they bet? Well, there were 2 mountains full of gold, diamonds, among others. Time skip. In what seemed like a small country in ancient North India, Issei could be seen watching everything with boredom. But what was he doing there? He was looking for enlightenment. He fasted for a month without anything, meditating non-stop, searching for the meaning of life, but he couldn't find it until one day he heard a voice. Issei was on top of a rock, all malnourished. Issei, what do I do? Voice, clear your mind and overcome your deepest fears and let them go. Issei simply obeyed and began to cry blood for his state and remembering every trauma, every pain, every scar that marked him, but then he began to see that emotions were useless. A deity must be perfect without unnecessary emotions. At that, Issei's eyes shone, showing a lotus. Issei opened his eyes and saw that he was in a white place. Issei, where am I? Voice, you're mine, my dear friend. Issei turns around and sees a teenager about his age looking at them with a lollipop in his mouth. Issei, who are you? Voice, the question is not who am I. The real question is who are we? Issei, how? Voice, you see, my friend, I existed millennia ago and I became a god, or as you know me, Buddha. That left Issei in shock. Issei, what do you want? Buddha, you see, I existed a long time ago, but I got tired of that, I got bored, my days became monotonous, and I thought about having fun, and the great idea of dying occurred to me. Issei, why die? Buddha, well, I was bored and decided to look for a worthy successor to my power, and leave him my legacy. Issei, and I guess that guy is me, right? Buddha, if you know how life is, you not only saw the good, you also saw the bad, why? Issei, where there is light there is always darkness. Buddha, and tell me, Do you agree to be one so that you can teach a lesson to the people who look down on you? Issei, I'm bored of giving them time, I prefer to have fun. Buddha, I like you, that's the attitude, friend. At that, Buddha extended his hand and touched Issei's, and a glow illuminated the entire place where Issei was. Olympus. In Olympus there were several gods talking about normal things until they felt an enormous power, and that was Issei's, but it was divine, so only the gods could recognize who it came from. Zeus. Ha ha ha, how interesting, I did it in a month and a half. Odin. Yes, it surprises me a lot, he is a genius among geniuses of geniuses. I think one is born every billion years. Hermes. Who won? They looked through a notebook with notes, and the one who got it right was Hephaestus. Hephaestus. Why? Ha 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 ha, I beat you morons, I knew you wouldn't let me down, Issei. Several gods were seen curled up on the ground crying comically because they had bet all their savings or gone into debt. Even Zeus was crying curled up, asking any deity to save him from the fury of his ex-wife Hera because he had borrowed a lot of money. But there was still Hephaestus, happy, jumping for joy. Hephaestus, why are you all so worried? Let's go get Issei and drink. Everyone agreed with him and went to Issei's location. When they arrived they saw a wasteland where before everything was dead, now it was a very beautiful forest. Hermes, great. Then they went into the center of the forest and saw a giant lotus on top of a stone. Apollo, what is that? Zeus, a flower? Odin, misfits is a row. Thor, a lotus. Odin, if that was what I was going to say. Then the lotus began to open, and in the middle of the lotus was still Issei with a great change in appearance and different clothes. Issei, hello guys. Hephaestus, hi Issei, shall we go for some drinks? Issei, what does it matter? After that reunion where they asked him how he rose to deity, he answered them with all the truth. Zeus, so that kid was reincarnated. Issei, yes, but that child is also me. Hephaestus, I'm not surprised that you were his reincarnation, after all you are the strongest teenager. Time skip. In Valhalla all the deities were found deciding whether life on Earth continues or ends. Zeus, today we will decide whether humanity and the factions will remain alive or will be exterminated. Cynthia, I think they should die. I saw humans for millennia and they never change. There will always be war. These words aroused the murmurs of the gods, who began to vote for its extinction. Zeus, then humanity will perish. When Zeus began to lower a hammer, a Valkyrie stopped him. Brunhild, I suggest Ragnarok. All the gods started laughing, but a shadow with a lollipop in his mouth started laughing at how funny it was. Zeus, but what's the point? They can't do anything to us, only those who have sacred gears, but there are very few skilled ones. Brunhild, are they afraid? That aroused the wrath of the gods. Zeus, then it will be Ragnarok. Then he increased the mass of his arm and struck. You did well, Brunhild-chan. That voice made Brunhild blush when she saw that there was no one beside her. Brunhild, always so mysterious. Chapter 4, Triumphant Return. On the battlefield you could feel all the tension, and why? Because the fights were tied by the victories of Sasaki Kojiro, Jacqueline the Ripper, Valeri Lucifer, Izumi Hayadu, Satsuki Hayadu, and to everyone's surprise Revel Phenex, whose power rose too much and her flames turned blue. And on the part of the gods were Thor, Zeus, Odin, Cynthia, Lady Loki, and Hephaestus, who the latter did not want to but they forced him. Heimdall. And now the decisive moment of the fights, the last fight. Whoever wins will decide whether humanity and the factions live or die. Heimdall shouted this with great emotion, and the stadium erupted in shouts of excitement. Heimdall, and now the god among gods, the one whom not even Zeus himself can harm with his final form. Only 4 deities can leave him somewhat hurt. He is the strongest among us all. Those words began to worry humanity, because what would a Hassite being be capable of? Heimdall. He was shut aside by everyone. His family hated him, but his sisters did not. They loved him, but in the wrong way. He was the mastermind behind all the strategies to win. He got fed up with his transgressions and decided that humanity was lost. Those words began to worry humanity even more, but the gods jumped for joy because they knew that being. Gal, dear sister, who will be able to defeat Buddha? Brunhild, there is no such thing as a being. Gal, so we lost? Brunhild, ha ha ha, no. Gal, so who is capable of defeating him if he is the most powerful existence? Brunhild, or Gal just watches and sees how the gods fall into madness when they see how their strongest warrior, their ace up their sleeve, their wild card was a fake one. Gal remained silent and decided to observe. Heimdall, it is rumored that his power is comparable to that of the Triaxa. This scared those present even more. Heimdall, did he decide on their extinction out of hate, no? Did he hate them? No, then why does he do it? The answer is simple, he is bored. Those words were the trigger for the humans because for him it was just a game. Heimdall, this human who became a deity, his name is Gautama Buddha. Everyone began to see how the door began to open a little. Heimdall, but he is not the same Buddha, no, he is reincarnation into a being who understands his philosophy, and his new name is Gautama Issei. At these words all the gods began to sing his name. Smoke began to come out of a door, and some lotuses began to shine. All the spectators were shocked. Perhaps the weak brother of the Red Emperor was that deity. But those who knew him were happy to see him, but at the same time felt sad because since he left it was discovered that he was not the mole, but the guy who slept with Kurumi, and even more so when his sisters told the truth they felt worse than garbage. But when Issei started walking he took Heimdall's horn. Issei, listen to me. I will fight. But on the side of humanity. That left everyone in shock. No one could believe it. Did the strongest deity say that they allied themselves with humans? The only one who was not surprised was Brunhild, who had a strange smile, and Zeus noticed. Zeus, that brat always knew. Heimdall, be you but Mr. Issei, that can't be done, it's against the rules. At that moment the cries of the gods began to insult him and ask for explanations. Issei, shut up! At that moment Zeus came down and stood in front of him. Zeus, why do you do it? Issei, why if the gods don't save them I will, and if any god gets in my way I will kill him. All the gods started yelling at him, but he just ignored them, but he started to get upset. Issei, shut up! Nobody will tell me what to do because in this world only I matter. Gods, how arrogant! Zeus, you know this breaks all the rules. Issei, who do you think gave the Valkyrie the idea of using the will, and the only one who realized it was you or not Loki-chan? Lady Loki, I always knew it. After all, they look too much like your domains, or am I wrong? Zeus, so Issei, you are willing to go against all the gods just for humans, the same ones who left you aside and humiliated you. Issei, as I told you, if no deity defends them, I will do it, and I will kill anyone who challenges me. Zeus, then you will go against all the gods. Heimdall, but... Zeus, make it official Heimdall. Heimdall, change of plans, then on the side of humanity Gautama Issei. That made the humans jump for joy and thank him. Heimdall, and on the side of the gods all the gods who know how to fight. Human, but it would be thousands against one. Heimdall, this is a lesson to the gods who tried to challenge us. Start. Issei was standing there watching as several gods came down from the boxes to beat them up. Issei raised his sacred weapon Rikudu a little and made a small movement, taking away several gods. Issei, how boring. Imagine that it's Issei who humiliates them. When Issei finished humiliating the low-ranking gods, he only looked at them indifferently and fixed his eyes on his forehead where Odin, Thor, Lady Loki, Zeus, Cynthia, and Zero were, who was purified by Issei a while ago. Zero, why leave everything for humans knowing that they treated you worse than scum? Issei, as I taught you, where there is light there is darkness and vice versa, that is why I will help you to be pure beings. At that moment the humans began to shout the name of Buddha and other Issei for helping them. Cynthia, then why let humans and gods die if in the end you would fight? Do you care so little about us? Issei, you're wrong. At first I thought they should be eliminated. All the humans opened their eyes in shock. Thor, what made you change your mind? At that everyone paid attention. What was the reason why the strongest god helps humanity? Issei. Brunhild-chan told me that she would help the humans face the gods and I gave her my help, but it was just to entertain myself. Then some fights happened and Loki-chan came to confront me, but at that moment I was still in doubt. Can humans give everything just to survive, or is there something deeper? And finally I found it. Humans fight not only for themselves, but they are also capable of giving everything for a loved one. At that moment I thought that maybe and only maybe they had salvation, and I helped Brunhild-chan with everything possible. And am I fighting for them in exchange for something? No, I fight for the new generation that I hope does not make the same mistakes as their predecessors. That was taught to me by the fallen men this day, like Adam, who gave everything for his children, and he firmly believed in them. That is why I will not spit in his face. After all, one day I was human. At these words some gods who were humans cried because they remembered their families and loved ones and how they lost them. Zeus, and you saw the gods die. Is their sacrifice in vain? Issei, sacrifice? Do you think they died? Odin, we didn't think, they died and we saw it with our eyes. We saw how their soul was fragmented and destroyed, plus opens eyes in shock, plus it can't be. Issei, do you think I would let someone die? You know I'm not like that. In fact, all the supposed dead are resting in a secret place, healing and recovering. At these words they rejoiced, and Eva began to cry for her husband, just like many other people. Zeus, you did deceive us, rightly so. His soul left and was not destroyed immediately. Box. Gal, dear sister, that means. Brunhild, if our sisters did not die. Gal began to cry with happiness, remembering each of her sisters. Sand. The gods were surprised by this fact. Zeus, but coming from you I'm not surprised. After all, you hate unnecessary death. Issei, you know me well, Zeus-chan. Zeus, then it's time to teach you a lesson. At that the gods who could still move stood up. Issei, I hope this is fun. Chapter 5, Issues. A stadium was seen about to collapse, but who were the cause? Well, the only ones left standing were in Issei with some scratches, and on the part of the gods almost everyone was unconscious. The only ones standing were Zeus, Cynthia, Thor, and Odin. Everyone else was unconscious. No being other than God could believe what they saw because it was a beating to the gods, but although Issei did not seem tired, he spent 30% of his power because facing practically even an army was difficult. Issei, give up, you know you can't fight me. Zeus, you surprised me, boy. I think we should use everything we have. Zeus used his adamanta form. Cynthia began to dance. Thor threw his hammer and returned to him and was in position to launch the same attack he did against Lubu, and Odin summoned his spear and began to gather a spell on the tip. Issei, the gods are really stubborn. Issei transformed his weapon into the original Rokudo form and began to gather energy. Issei, light that purifies everything, shines and emerges from the shadow and shines white nova. Issei screamed as a small particle came out of the tip of his weapon and slowly fell to the ground. The gods reacted and used all the magic they had left, and used their best attack with the small chance of stopping that damage. When that tiny particle hit the ground, it caused a huge explosion that moved the entire arena. No one could see anything because of the dust that rose. When the dust cleared, you could see the gods very injured but still standing, and Issei could be seen somewhat tired. Issei, I'm surprised that they managed to counter an attack with 20% of my power. Zeus, when you became a god, we all trained so that you wouldn't surpass us, but I see that we still have a long way to go. Issei, what counts is the intention, Zeus-chan. Cynthia, we will not give up. Issei, I'll knock them out quickly. Issei prepared to knock them out, but his eyes turned into a lotus. Issei saw how a very powerful attack fell from the sky. He knew he couldn't move them, so he got in the middle and used his divine weapon. Issei, Mawerwa Rokudo. Issei used his divine weapon to protect the gods. No one understood what he was doing, but they saw how thousands of spells fell on the shield and fragmented it a little. When the spell storm ended, you could see a more tired Issei because defending so many spells at the same time was difficult for him, and what left his eyes in shock was that he could not see the future of a person. From the sky below, a girl that everyone knew for being very powerful. It was Kurumi with a yellow eye, and she was floating above everyone, seeing them like insects until she saw Issei, and in her eyes the pupil turned into a heart. Issei, what do you think you're doing, Tokisaki, and more, why can't I see your future? Kurumi, Fu, my cute Issei, I see that you are very well, but answering your question, well, simply you cannot see the future of someone who can travel in time and alter it. Issei, but your power is not great enough to do that. Issei began to check his aura and opened his eyes in shock at what he saw. Kurumi, I see you noticed. Zeus, what are you wearing, Issei? Issei, her aura is very large, and what surprises me the most is seeing that she achieved it by consuming the souls of other beings like Kurumi, humans to be true, if he had to consume his energy to be able to strengthen me, and it gave an incredible result. Behind Kurumi appeared many shadows that had white teeth and eyes. Issei, what do you gain from this? Kurumi, power. Issei, what do you want to do, what is your goal? Kurumi, you want me to tell you? Okay, well, you'll see when we finish. I thought about training and I'll come back so strong that I can travel in time, but I reached my limit until I decided to consume other beings and use their power and make it mine. Issei, and why do you want to travel in time? Kurumi, my original plan was to travel to the moment when you discovered me being unfaithful to you and repair that mistake, but I realized that that wouldn't be enough because you would move away from me. So I came up with something much better. Issei, what? Kurumi, travel to where you were born and make you totally mine, educate you to love only me since you were a child. That is my plan, but I needed help since I would not achieve it alone until she appeared. Issei, who? Kurumi, the daughter of the former leader of the former Cow's Brigade. She offered to help me as long as we share you. Lilith live on Lucifer, the daughter of Risavim live on Lucifer. At such words everyone was in shock. Issei, how? I saw her die. Kurumi, I use a clone, but I don't know why you captivate her. So now our goal is simple. Issei, what goal? At that point a portal opened showing the supposed deceased. Lilith, first free the Triaxa and control it, then use its power to go back in time and kill my enemies when they are born and have you forever. Issei, that's crazy, and if that's your goal, why attack now? Lilith, to get rid of the gods would be a problem in the future, but I see that you defended them. Issei, I see that you guys are crazy. Lilith, crazy for you, my Issei, or forget this face. Lilith, when she transformed into a teenager, Issei opened his eyes in shock, remembering his first love even before Revel. Lilith, I see you remind me, Issei-chan. Issei, you, but how? Lilith, a magician does not reveal his secrets, but I hope you forgive me for doing that to you, but if you join me I will reward you. Issei did not react, he simply shed tears of sadness and some hatred, and Lilith approached his face, wiping his tears. Issei, I will never join you, never. Issei pushed Lilith's hand, causing her to get angry. Lilith, I see that I will have to use force, but we will see each other, Issei, and this timeline will never exist, it will only be you, me and her forever. Issei, you really went crazy. Lilith, everyone has their breaking point and mine was that you will reject me, and yes, I am crazy. But of you, my darling, and if it is necessary to destroy the whole world for you to be mine, I will do it, ha 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 ha. Lilith started laughing like crazy as she watched Issei and left in a magic circle just like Kurumi. Zeus, you really drive them crazy, ha ha ha. Odin, yes, very crazy, ha ha ha. Issei, shut up, and we better know what you were looking for. Zeus, it seems they were looking for something. Issei, they are smart, they would not attack, this was a distraction to look for something. Zeus, you're right, Issei, they were surely looking for something and found it, but what? Issei, I don't know, but it must be something very powerful. What is Issei hiding? How do you know, Lilith? These were questions that everyone was asking themselves. Chapter 6 Trailer. Darkness was the only thing that could be seen, and out of nowhere some bright red eyes could be seen, but these had no emotions. The only thing they contained was hate, revenge, and many more negative feelings, but they held guilt. What are you doing here? You don't want to hear my story? Well, I have nothing better to do. Narrate? I was a girl who was used as an experiment, but he saved me. After that I visited him daily. I like to call him Dad, but he couldn't adopt me. But after a few years he adopted me, but I didn't feel the same anymore. I was bored of him, but now I regret it. You don't know how I would like to see him again on my birthday, or for him to give me a simple hug. But he's not here anymore, and what did I do when he was still there? Well, nothing. I despised him and treated him badly, but I believe that everything in life is paid for, and when it was my turn to pay I paid too much, and I got into too much debt, but he paid for me. Even though I told him it was useless, he always paid for me. But one day that damn video appeared and no one doubted that stupid tape, either her friends nor her supposed suitors. But now I will make this rotten society pay for its sins. There are no more heroes. They killed the only hero that existed, and many anti-heroes knew it and recruited them. I promise to be number one. Sorry for lying to you. I won't be the next symbol of peace like you. But I assure you that I will bring peace even if I have to stain my hands with blood, and after that I will bring you back to life even if I have to eliminate everything that exists, Father. End of narration. The unknown person began to cry tears of blood as his gaze became more hateful. I will kill you, damn heroes. Chapter 7, Ragnarok. You could see how all the participants and spectators of Ragnarok were in a room where the most important beings of each faction or religion and the presidents were, but all this was being transmitted to everyone. U.S. President, now that we have resolved our differences, you know why they attacked the New Cows Brigade. Zeus, indeed yes. P. Mexico, what did they steal? Odin O. Issei, leave it to me Odin-chan. You will see what they stole is an object from Asgard, to be precise the most dangerous. P. Argentina, why is it dangerous? Issei, you will see what he stole is the Odin sword or the sword of Odin. P. Japan, and what makes this sword so dangerous? Issei, you see, only someone with the power of Odin can wield this sword because its power is so great that it is capable of cutting through time and space. P. Peru. But there are several users who can control time and other space. What is the difference? Issei, you will see the true name of this sword is Ragnarok, which means the end of all things. Everyone fell silent at such words. P. Mexico, and how did they steal it? Issei, you see, when they attacked us, it was a distraction while several of their men stole this sword that was in the heart of Valhalla guarded by 100 men with great power. And they killed them and took this sword. P. Argentina, and how it looks. Odin, I'll show them to you. Odin, this sword had a curse that says when unsheathed it means the end of all things, even the gods. No one could speak in the face of such a revelation. Issei, but there is good news. Azazel, which one? Issei, he still doesn't have all the power needed to use it. Michael, how do you know? Issei, why else would they have already used the sword to cut the seal of the Triaxa and therefore would have sealed the Triaxa somewhere where they would be taking away its power and storing it to finally use Kurumi's power and have her brandish the sword and make such a powerful cut that I managed to take them to my birth and kidnap me. P. Japan, and why are you so important? If everyone classifies you as the weak brother of the Red Empress. Issei, you will see all the plans that led you to victory. I made them. Every plan thing, I did it. I even made the seal that resealed the Triaxa, so without me everyone would be lost. Nobody believed him, but they saw holograms of how he sealed the Triaxa, made the plans and many more things. Michael, so the priority is to recover the sword. Issei, why no? Searches, both yes and no. Issei, the real priority is to know who gave them the information about the sword because no one except Odin-chan and I knew about the sword. Therefore, someone knowing about it means that they know many things that should not be revealed because we gods keep many secrets and many forbidden weapons by ourselves. P. USA, if they have so much power, why did they destroy us? It's simple, according to their words. Issei, you see my dear, it is because its power is so great that it can corrupt the minds of the gods and attracts the greed of humans for power. That is why we are prohibited from using those weapons. Even I am prohibited from using something. Searches, what is it? Issei, I would never say it where millions are watching me, They just have to know that we must locate that being who gave them that information, because if they stole a forbidden weapon they may steal more like that. This meeting ends. Everyone left their seats and Issei took out a lollipop and put it in his mouth and began to walk with the gods, but they were interrupted by the leaders, his sisters, the Gremry and Citri entourage, and some more women like Revel who looked at Issei with pink eyes. Issei, what do you want? Searches, come back to us. Issei, stop? What did I win? Michael, we'll engage you with the Gremry entourage and Citri, Leifi, Kuroka, Penemu, Gabriel, Yasaka, Revel, and some more girls. Azazel, tell me, boy, do you accept? Issei, I'm sorry, but I reject your offer. The leaders looked at this with blank eyes. Searches, why not Issei-kun? Issei, I'm sorry, Mao-chan, but I'm not interested, for my god, I even rejected Aphrodite. Tell me, do you think I would accept? Michael, to be honest, we thought so. Issei, what they want is for me to get them pregnant and have strong children, or am I wrong? The leaders remained silent as the girls watched all this with blank, lifeless eyes at being rejected. Issei, but I'll go to Quizhero College. Everyone looked surprised, even the gods. Odin, why there is. Issei, I can feel something of Kurumi's presence, although weak. I know she often wanders around there, that's why I'll go, but don't be confused, I won't go for the girls, I'll go for the common good. Issei walked back to the gods and waved goodbye. Time skip. And Issei is seen putting on the Kui University uniform. Female uniform. Men's uniform. Issei put on his uniform and started walking and took out a bag of candy that he started eating. When he arrived at the University of Heroes. Elite Heroes. Issei walked through the entrance and earned the attention of all the women who saw him with a big blush and looks of respect from men and others of resentment for stealing the attention of the female population. Issei, this will be interesting. Chapter 8 Memories. It had been a few days since Issei entered my academy and all the women were dying for him, even the married ones and girlfriends. That shrimp came out of hatred from men, but they felt respect for fighting for people who despised him, and he became an example for many. In fact, he had several followers that he helped with their problems, and they all recognized him as Buddha-sama, but he insisted that they call him Issei because he was very relaxed and liked sweets. University. In a seat surrounded by many girls in the middle of it you could see Issei eating some popcorn, while they asked him things and he answered calmly. Time skip. Issei could be seen walking home very bored until a magic circle was created in his ear. Zeus, hi Issei, I was going to tell you that at 8 p.m. there will be a meeting where all the leaders will meet. Issei, why? Zeus, says that they found clues to Lilith's location and also know how they know each other. Issei, okay, but I don't like talking about her. Zeus, I don't know what happened, boy, but it is necessary. Issei, okay, then see you there, Zeus-chan. Zeus, see you, Issei. When the call ends, Issei looks at the sky, seeing the clouds, trying to relax. Issei, I never imagined that you would be that person, Lilith, but there is no difference, after all both are demons. Issei looked ahead and started walking. Time skip. Issei saw the door where the Crusades were the leaders of each country and religion and the DXD group and Vala's team. Zeus, you finally arrived, Issei. Issei, yes, Zeus-chan, it's that I got lost on the path of life. That gave everyone a drop in the neck. Issei, what did they discover? At that the table began to project a hologram of the planet. Michael, we have found a high concentration of magic on an island located in Issei, the Bermuda Triangle. Azazel, yes. Issei, okay, then we will set up an expedition with me in a week if that's all. I'm leaving. Issei, when he was at the door, was stopped by some words. Michael, tell us, Issei, how you met Rizavim's daughter. Killing those words, Issei stood still for a while looking at the ground, but returned to his seat and looked at everyone, not with his typical bored look but with one of sadness and hatred. Issei, I met her when I went to stay with my grandparents for a while. Everyone was somewhat surprised, except for his sisters, whose madness increased a lot that year. Issei, This happened a year before entering the Academy. I went with my grandfather for a while because I got tired of my abuse and more from my sisters who were constantly trying looks away the forced carnal act. I left that year, and they put me in a school to finish the school year, and that Issei was projecting his past. Narrates Issei. I entered the school as the best, and it was the center because almost no one entered with those grades, and I decided that I would never fall in love there because the love of my sisters was very unhealthy until one day a girl with the same grade entered that surprised me, and when she introduced herself she said her name was Mizusa Natsukawa. An exchange student who became very popular for her beauty after a few days, but I wasn't interested. But one day she asked me to be her boyfriend. Normal narration. Satsuki. Angry, you better have rejected her. Revel. Of course he did it, after all Ami has me. Issei saw all this strange and decided to continue. Narrates Issei. I obviously don't believe that she loved me, and that's how it was. It seems that she didn't want a relationship. What she wanted was a cover because she got fed up with being asked out all the time, and that's why she proposed that to me. I clearly said no, but she took out my diary and in it were all my abuses, and she started talking. Mizusu, if you don't want all this to come to light, you will accept. Even though I didn't want to, I accepted. You don't know how much I regret it. I spent a few months with her, and everything was normal, but she started to be more affectionate, saying that I shouldn't talk to any girl, that even though we pretended to be boyfriends I had to act like it, but that bored me, but in the end I don't know how, and I fell into her net. I fell in love and I proposed to her to be a real boyfriend. At that moment I saw how her eyes lit up, but not with love but with malice. A few months passed since I confessed, and she became very distant, and I didn't know what to do. One day I forgot my class notes, and went up to the classroom where I heard a lot of moaning. It disgusted me to think about it. I would just go in and take out my notes. When I entered I saw something that broke my heart, and that was seeing my girlfriend with the whole class in an orgy. When the boys saw me they smiled with superiority, and my girlfriend looked at me with superiority, and some sadness. She wanted to explain to me that she was just trying new things. Obviously I didn't believe her, and told her that despite knowing my secret she did this to me. I immediately went to his backpack and took out my diary, then set it on fire. She tried to explain and hugged me from behind. I simply threw her away and told her to never look for me, not to cry or anything because my tears would not be seen by anyone. If I cried I would do it in private. The next day I didn't go, and a month went by where I finally went, and everyone looked at me somewhat guilty because my look was no longer the typical happy one but rather one without emotions. When I got to my chair, next to me was my ex, and I asked a colleague if I could change places. She happily accepted. After that I became very good friends with her. Her name was Chiwa Harasaki. And everyone teased us about being boyfriends and stuff like that. Of course the girls did this because the boys saw me with pity, and what happened? Well, a few weeks ago I asked her to be my girlfriend and she happily accepted. The class looked at us and wished us the best, but Mizusa looked at me with her cold eyes, and in an instant I swore I saw her eyes change to a red that radiated extreme madness. I got scared and blinked, then I saw her, and she was normal, just with some tears. At the end of the day I forgot some things from Chiwa and I told her that I would bring them. When I entered the room, Mizusa was looking at me with cold eyes. Mizusu, why? Issei, why? What? Mizusu, you left me for that hitch. Issei, annoyed, look at the hitch talking about my girlfriend like that. Mizusu, crying, I am your girlfriend. Issei, you were my girlfriend, but I see that you didn't care much about being one. She pounced on me and hugged me so tightly that I couldn't let go. I screamed for her to get away from me, and she started kissing me. I resisted until Chiwa saw this, very upset. I tried to explain to her, but she said that she saw everything and told her all the truths, and to her anger she kissed me. Chiwa, this here belongs to me. It may have been yours before, but other people's trash is other people's greatest treasure. That's why this hottie will please me in everything, even in the carnal act. Mizusa got up to hit her, but I got in the way. After that, a month passed where the men disappeared and some of their companions. That worried us all until Chiwa disappeared. I looked for her with the help of some spells that I knew. I entered the cellar, and what I saw horrified me. It was a Mizusa torturing Chiwa. I ran and tried to hit her, but she was faster and put me on the ground. Then she looked with a superior look at Chiwa, who was very hurt. Mizusu, now you will see how my boyfriend penetrates me and you can't do anything. Jajajajajajajaja. She started laughing like crazy. I barely freed myself from her grip and ran straight to where Chiwa was. Chiwa, Issei my love, I know I won't be able to get out, but I want you to live. I found this place a week ago and I filled it with explosives, that's why I want you to leave, I will distract her. I begged her not to, but she insisted, and I decided to go while Chiwa stayed with Mizusu. I don't know what happened, but the only thing I saw was a big explosion. I thought they both died. I cried a lot and told everything. Then the police searched for the bodies, but they didn't find anything, and I thought they died. After that I went back to Ko. End of Issei's narration. Nobody spoke, but everyone was angry at Mizusu, or as Lilith's real name is. Zeus, you really have bad luck in love, Issei. Zeus came up and hugged him. Zeus, it is good to cry. At that Issei started screaming and crying and then fell asleep. Zeus, I don't care what happens, I'll make sure that Issei my son is happy. At those words everyone supported him, but the girls had something much worse in mind. Revel, my Issei, soon we will go together, and you will never suffer, and if someone gets in my way I will kill them, and you will finally be mine and only mine. Those were some thoughts of girls who went crazy for Issei. Issei, why do I feel like I'm going to be great in the worst way and it will be pleasurable? It shouldn't be something unimportant. Chapter 9 Revel. Revel Phenex, a spoiled girl who always got what she wanted, but everything changed when she met that boy who illuminated her path. Nara Revel. I was a very spoiled girl who always got what she wanted, and I always was. My brothers hated me for stealing Dad's attention, but when they told us we would go to the human world, meeting two powerful sacred gear bearers, I happily accepted to see the human world. And I met that cute boy. He captivated me the first moment I saw him, and that's how I got him. He was mine even though he didn't know it, and so it went on normally until that damn day happened. That day that I regret so much. My stupid ego and my tsundere side came out and spoke for me. I insulted the man who took me so many years to fall in love with, so many years of effort in the trash, and for my stupid ego I returned to the underworld and cried for months. Then I destroyed my room and started burning the castle, and I don't know how, but my flames evolved. They were no longer pure fire, now they were a blue fire that consumed everything. Keep an eye on Issei after that, and I'm filled with rage knowing that the harpies of his sisters took advantage of his emotional damage to have him at their mercy. They don't know how much effort I made to not kill them, burn them, and feed the Cerberus with their body. I joined my brother's clan to improve my power, and he helped me. Well, I forced him to help me because otherwise he would kill his beloved Eubelina and tell our parents. Yes, my stupid brother fell in love with some random demon, according to me, but I don't judge, and he had to pretend that he loved Rias. But I interfered there, and how? Well, I simply controlled my brother with a manipulation spell and made him act like an idiot, and his pieces knew it, but they shouldn't talk, and why did he want them to hunt each other? Well, the damn Rias fell in love with my property, she reincarnated it into a demon. How dare that person touch something that was rightfully mine? I still don't know how she fell in love, that's why I wanted to get her out of my way, but Issei saved her. And she seems to have a love as pure as mine, craziness, I proposed that she and a few others would be chosen by me to be the girlfriends of me, Issei, and I would be the leader. She accepted because she knew she had no choice. After all, she mistreated Issei for many years and would need help. We chose a few, but soon we have to get rid of some obstacles. Our first target was a fallen angel who fell in love with Issei. I think her name was Rainier, and according to Rias she killed him, and we couldn't allow that. Then flashback. Place? Rainier was waking up, looking everywhere, finding only darkness, and realized that she was tied with chains of magic. She screamed for half an hour until she heard some footsteps. She looked everywhere looking for the person who did this to her. Rainier, show me, you damn. At that some laughter could be heard, making Rainier more nervous. Until he saw some familiar silhouettes and others, but these were hooded. Rainier, nervous. Rias, Gremory, and Revel Phenex, what are they doing here? Rias, Oh, nothing, I just came to get rid of an obstacle. That's his look. Rainier saw this strangely. Rainier, I'm not with Kokobile anymore, what are you referring to? Revel, you will see a stupid fall, you want something that belongs to us. Rainier, I don't have anything of hers. Rias, you're wrong, you want to have our Issei. Rainier opened her eyes in surprise and started laughing a little. Revel, annoyed that you laugh. Rainier, haha, I'm just laughing at the great Rias Gremory, the Crimson Princess. Crimson Hair Princess of Ruin, who belittled and humiliated Issei. I love him, oh you Revel Phenex, the woman who left him hanging despite declaring herself, left him and disappeared, appears out of nowhere and wants to claim him, don't you understand? I will never love you, better leave the path clear for me, he still loves me and you know it. After all, I investigated him to be able to make him fall in love with you, and even if it hurts you, I was his first kiss. Rias and Revel looked at Rainier with a terrifying look. Revel, this is as far as you go. At that point Revel began to beat her brutally and burn her. After a few minutes you could see Rainier's body completely burned and bleeding. Rias, not yet. At that point, Rias gave her a phoenix tear and began to remove her fingernails and toenails. After that, she began to remove her fingers with her power of destruction, and Revel burned those parts so that she would not bleed out. After that, he removed body parts until only the chest and head remained, barely breathing. Revel, cold last words. Rainier, he wouldn't love you crazy. Revel cut the bottom of his mouth, and stuck his tongue out there, and tied a knot, and began to walk away with Rias. And Revel charged a large fireball and threw it at the abandoned warehouse where Rainier was. Rias, cold, I didn't know that Issei declared his love for you. Revel, you know what motivates me, correcting my mistakes. Rias, how many will we accept for our Issei? Revel, you know that Issei will love us all equally, it doesn't matter the amount, what matters is if he has a love as big as ours. Rias, it's true, that's why I fell in love with him. Revel, this never happened, you understand? Finn flashed back. After that we eliminated some obstacles and made it seem like they were renegade demons or corrupt heroes, and we gathered many allies who were looking for the same thing as us. The first ones we recruited were their sisters. Even though we hate each other to death, many more were needed, but soon our Issei will belong to us completely and no one will stop us, and if we must eliminate life in the squad we will do it. After all, if we have Issei we can repopulate. Chapter 10, Attack on the Hindu Faction. An Issei could be seen on a sofa as always with some popcorn eating because he was someone who loved sweets, and he thought where Kurumi and Lilith would go to attack because he thought that if they stole a forbidden weapon they would surely look for another one, but which one? At that a magic circle began to form in his ear and an alarmed Zeus began to gain on him. Zeus, child, we need you. Issei, what happened, Zeus-chan? Zeus, they are attacking the Hindu faction and there are too many of them, and it seems that Kurumi is using the sword. Issei put down his popcorn and began to form a magic circle. Issei, and he told me I hope Cynthia-chan is okay. Zeus, yes, I hope we get there soon. Issei immediately transported himself to where he felt Cynthia's power was draining and felt two presciences with her, and quickly headed to that place. When he arrived he saw a field all destroyed and a Cynthia without an arm and with her fire dance in its maximum splendor. And next to her was a Kurumi with Odin's sword wielding it as if it were nothing. Issei, if they can already control that sword, they still don't have enough power to draw power from the Triaxa. I guess that's why they need more weapons, but the only thing close to this position is Trishula. At that, Issei quickly summoned his weapon and transformed it into a shield, avoiding the cut that was heading straight for Cynthia's neck. Cynthia, thank you, Issei-kun. Issei, you're welcome, Cynthia-chan. In that, Issei saw the two attackers who watched that scene with fury. Issei, how long? It's not like that. Kurumi, why are you talking to that hitch? Issei, you have no right to talk about her like that. Lilith, how dare you defend her? At that, Lilith gathered destruction magic and threw it straight at them, and Issei put his shield back up. Issei, surprised, how do you have the power to destroy the Bale clan? Lilith, Flirtatious: a magician does not reveal his secrets, unless you ask me in bed. Issei: that will never happen, better in a cell. Lilith: flirtatious: you say that now, but when you are in bed you don't even want to get up. Issei: previously dead, but now they are looking for him. Lilith: nothing special, just having the power to create, maintain, and destroy. Issei analyzed the words until Issei and Cynthia both opened their eyes in shock. Issei: Trishula, but how do you know of its existence? It is only a myth, and we are in charge of hiding it from everyone. Lilith: as I told you, a magician does not reveal his secrets. I hope you choose between catching us or saving your friend who has poison in her nervous system that we put in her. Issei looked at Cynthia, who also seemed to not know about that, but he looked at her right leg, seeing how her veins began to turn green. Issei: I will help you. Cynthia stopped them. Issei: I wouldn't let someone special to me die, not even in my head. Cynthia blushed profusely and fainted, spilling an anime-style drop on Issei. At that, many portals opened, showing the leaders and several soldiers. Odin: what happened, boy? Issei: they attacked and are going for the Trishula. The two gods that were Zeus and Odin opened their eyes in shock. Zeus: how do you know about that? Issei: it seems that there is a traitor god among us. Then we will talk about that. I need help for her, and we must stop Lilith and Kurumi, who are going for the Trishula. The others nodded, still not knowing what the Trishula was. Asia stayed to take care of Cynthia while the leader's soldiers began to help Cynthia's troops. Issei ran through the destroyed streets looking for the aura of Kurumi or Lilith until he found them in the main temple of Cynthia and the place where the most powerful weapon of the goddess of destruction was located. Issei: I'll need help. At that, Issei made a magic circle and told them to come immediately to his location. When they arrived, they saw the temple. Azazel: what is so important? Issei: this is a secret. In that temple is the forbidden weapon for Cynthia-chan, the Trishula. Xerxes: what does that weapon do? Issei: whoever carries it, if they have enough power and compatibility, will be able to create, maintain the creation and decide its destruction. A very great power in the wrong hands could be catastrophic. Michael: how much power does he possess? Issei: he is able to erase a continent effortlessly. That left everyone surprised. Zeus: who told you about that? Issei: only a group of people know of his existence. The obvious thing is that there is a traitor among us gods, or an informant who was at the meeting. Odin and she. Issei: don't talk about her, besides the dead don't talk. The demons, angels and fallen angels did not know what he was referring to, but seeing the way Issei spoke so seriously, they decided not to ask. Time skip. Issei along with the DXD group and the leaders along with Zeus, Odin and Cynthia through the temple until they stopped in front of a giant statue of Cynthia. Azazel: there is no way out here. Issei did not speak and simply began to recite in a whisper until the large statue lowered two arms. Issei: come up. When they went up, they saw how Issei was reciting something again, and the two hands that did not move came together and made a prayer pose, and the hands that held them went up to the forehead of the statue, and Cynthia's third eye began to move, opening a passageway. All except gods, woo. Issei: he summoned his staff and set it on fire, and used it as a torch, and they started walking. They walked through very old passages because it was very visible on the walls, and the stone was weak. Xerxes: a question? Issei: tell me, Demon-chan. That brought out a vein in Xerxes. Zeus: ignore it, it was always like that. Xerxes: how long ago did they build this? It seems very old. Issei: millennia ago. Azazel: I thought you just woke up. How did they hide this millennia ago if you weren't even around at that time? Issei: in my previous life we did all this. That's why an ancient god must have given them the location. Michael: do you have any clues? Issei: no. They remained silent until they reached a very old elevator. They went up and began to rise, and for the first time in a long time someone spoke. Revel: tell me, Issei-kun, did you have more previous lives? Nobody spoke because it was a very difficult answer, since according to Buddhism someone dies and is reborn until they finally achieve enlightenment. Issei, good question Ravel-chan, and yes, I had many lives before finally becoming enlightened and becoming Buddha and enlightened and then being Hayate Issei. Rias, you remember your mortal life. Issei was thinking until he took out a palette that not even the author knows where he got it from. Issei, I'm lying if I told you yes. No, the answer is no. I only remember my life after Buddha, but I have some dreams of my previous lives, and in almost all of them I see a very blurry woman. Mentioning the word woman aroused the fury of many women, making the few men afraid. Issei, but I think I'll never see her. Issei, when he finished speaking, stopped walking and turned off his staff and made it disappear. Issei, we arrived. In front of everyone there was a stone door that Issei recited a spell and it moved. In the center of the temple you could see Kurumi and Lilith, and next to them a statue of Cynthia with her 4 hands holding a huge trident. Michael, nervous maybe that weapon is the Trishula. Michael was nervous because the alarm gave off a lot of power. Issei, yes. At that Lilith began to lift the Trishula and it shrank until it was the size of Lilith. Issei, this will be difficult. Issei used the shield again, blocking a thrust of the trident. Chapter 11, Memories of whom? In a destroyed field, Issei could be seen standing as if nothing had happened but with a lake of exhaustion, and at his sides were his allies but wounded, and in front of him was a very agitated Kurumi, and a very exhausted Lilith. Issei, they surrender, they know they can't fight me. Lilith, don't be conceited. Issei, me? I never just tell the truth, they are very weak. Those words made Kurumi and Lilith angry, but when they were about to jump to Issei a magic circle appeared on their ears and it seems that they were upset and simply left. Lilith, we'll see you soon, darling. Kurumi, we'll see each other very soon. The two disappeared and Issei simply began to heal everyone. After half an hour Issei told them that when they help everyone in the faction there would be a meeting where all the gods and leaders would attend. Time skip. In a meeting room where all the rulers of each country or mythology were present. Issei, hello leaders, there is a very troublesome scare. Mexico, what is it? Issei, you see, the Chaos Brigade obtained a very dangerous piece. Italy, what piece was stolen? Issei, a weapon capable of eliminating a continent. That left everyone present in shock. Issei, this weapon is called Trishula. It is the weapon that was forbidden to the goddess of destruction Cynthia-chan. Why did this weapon corrupt her? Cynthia, in other words, there are 2 options. Issei, either they want to eliminate us or they want to create something. France, how about creating? No, it only destroys. Issei, Verna is a weapon that is a trinity, its creation, its maintenance, and its destruction. In other words, this weapon creates, maintains and decides when it dies, and if no country or continent has been destroyed, there is only one option. Michael, are you creating something? Azazel, but what? Issei, that's the question, we don't know exactly but they are looking to build a vessel, that's all we know. Peru, why a container? Issei, either they want to create a body and store a soul in it, it wouldn't work unless. Michael, use the Holy Grail. Issei, we have a winner, that's all. That's why you must be on high alert because as you know the Holy Grail is divided into pieces but they must know its location. Argentino, how do you know your location? Issei, why a god is on his side. Bolivia, and what does it mean that there is a traitor god? Issei, you see, the gods hid the Holy Grail. That left everyone in shock. Issei, you see, since the age of myths, people were greedy and sought objects that would satisfy their ambition and the ultimate prize was the Holy Grail, being able to bring back the dead. That's why we thought it was very dangerous and we divided it into 7 fragments and hid them in different parts of the world, without any more questions. I'll see you next time. Issei left and everyone slowly left until no one was left. Issei's house. And Issei is sleeping but he started sweating and moving and talking in his sleep. Dream. A young man could be seen in the streets of a very ancient kingdom with buildings similar to those in England. This young man was on the streets begging. His clothes were fabrics in terrible condition, and his face could not be seen. At that moment it started to rain, and the young man went to an alley and covered himself with some nearby cardboard. At that the young man stopped feeling cold and looked ahead, seeing the princess of the kingdom, who looked at him with a smile, and he saw her and fell in love just by seeing her beautiful smile. Time skip. The same subject was seen taking off his clothes and putting on newer ones. The young man went out and saw Princess Renner in front of him. Renner, hello? Climb, my name is Climb, Your Excellency. Renner, forget the formalities, what were you doing in that alley? Climb, you see, my parents left me, they took me to the orphanage, but I escaped because the caregivers beat me a lot and also they abused me. Renner, I'm sorry to remind you that. Climb, don't worry. The two became friends and Climb joined the ranks of the army, becoming the princess's personal bodyguard. Climb always showed her love and she did too, and it was a beautiful friendship until Climb, tired of not being reciprocated, walked away from the princess, and he fell in love with a commoner, and they formed a great love, but Climb never expected the princess to hate him, so he ordered the commoner to be murdered, leaving Climb very damaged. Climb looked for the murderer, but he never appeared. But the princess made advances to him, and after so much the princess proposed to him, he left without knowing what to say. Climb thought for a few weeks and said yes to the princess, and they got the king's approval. The couple was very happy, but when you dream too much, your beautiful and sweet dream becomes a nightmare. If the princess needed an heir of cloth blood and Climb did not fulfill that, that is why she offered the duke to have relations, but only to be able to have a son born to inherit the crown. And so the duke was very happy to accept, and they had more than one encounter so that she became pregnant. But in one of their many encounters, Climb returned early that day from work and found them in the act. He simply cried and took off the glove of his armor and removed a ring that had engraved, "I will love you until death." Climb became the king's escort and told him everything that had happened in a deplorable state. The king felt sorry for him and gave him a few days and sent for his daughter. King, hi Renner, how long has it been? Yes father, but you saw my husband, I haven't seen him for a long time and I feel alone. King, I wouldn't say the same after all if the duke gives you too much company, or am I wrong? Those words began to frighten the princess. King, I know what you've been doing. If your mother were still alive, she would be very ashamed. How dare you commit adultery, and even more so, you have a husband. Renner, desperate father, I did it so that the royal lineage is not lost. King, you know, I didn't care that you had a half-breed son, and that's why I gave you my blessing, but I see that you didn't care about Climb's emotions. Renner, I swear I won't do it again, but don't separate me from him. Cries, I beg you father, don't separate me from him. King, I regret to tell you daughter that I did not know anything about this. The one who told me this was Climb. He came to me crying, seeking comfort. I regret to tell you daughter. At that point all those in charge of each seat entered, including the duke who was chained. King, I the king declare that the duke be executed and my daughter will be the next queen, as she is an only child. However, she will not be able to marry young Climb. From now on you two are single and divorced. Renner, desperate father, you can't do this to me. You can't take me away from him. He's mine and only mine. King, never. I am ashamed to be your father, and I have said even if you are the queen you will never be able to break this law. You and Climb will never be together. I removed the guards from my sight. Renner started screaming, cursing his father. Climb. He was crying and drinking alcohol, and went to his lodging because he did not want to see Renner. Time skip. And one day passed and Climb got up very lazily to open the door, and found a maid who handed him a letter. Letter, young Climb. I am the king, and I inform you that the marriage contract is void, and when Princess Renner obtains the throne she will never be able to marry you or be in any romantic relationship that does not include work. Climb smiled after finishing reading, and a small tear escaped. Time skip. A few months passed after what happened, and Climb was entering the room in Princess Renner's palace, as he left his old home and moved back here by order of the king. Climb, can I pass? Renner, of course Climb. Climb enters and sees the princess with a towel. He was not fazed and looked her straight in the eyes. Climb, the king requests your presence. Renner, there is no longer even a greeting. Climb, I remind you that our relationship is a working one, princess. Climb left without seeing the smile that Renner had. Renner, my beautiful Climb is almost here, hee hee. In that room you could only hear the laughter of someone who had lost his mind. The princess looked at her father with a face of hatred. King, when will we stop this fight, daughter? Renner, when you remove this stupid law. King, I can't, my word is law and you can never be with Climb. Rather forget about him, there are rumors that he is already dating someone. At that moment Renner's eyes became pleased and his pupils dilated. Renner, who is it? King, I won't tell you. Renner, who is that hitch? King, I don't know, and if I knew I would never tell you. Renner left there very upset, and when she got to her room she began to destroy everything within her reach while cursing the person who stole her husband. Time skip. They were in the middle of a war against a neighboring kingdom. The real reason was unknown. Climb was at the princess's side protecting her from anything. Renner, I think the best thing would be to escape. Climb, if the king ordered me to do that, we will forgive, and unfortunately I see that this is the end. It will be better to go, princess, but I must pick up my wife. Renner, congratulations on that, you never told me. Climb, it was because of us, and I think we're just friends now, right? Renner, yes, just friends. Climb left while Renner stayed there to wait. Climb, when he arrived, did not see the princess, and he was worried and began to look for her until a rock knocked him out, and his wife went to help him, but she saw a shadow behind his back that she could not see because she was decapitated. At that point the princess emerges from the shadows and heads to a peasant's carriage and lies to him that they were married and wanted to escape. The peasant helped them leave and left them in a distant kingdom so that they would not be found. In addition, near that kingdom the peasant left his products. Evening. Climb began to wake up and looked around without finding anything and remembered everything and began to move but realized that he was tied to a chair. He screamed for help until the princess came down from some stairs. Climb realized that he was in a basement. Climb, princess, free myself, I must find my wife. Renner, your wife? If you're seeing her. Climb, stop joking, princess, this is serious. Renner, and who said I was joking? Climb, you brought me? Renner, yes, I'll tell you a secret, okay. You'll see how my stupid father forbade me to marry you again, but then I realized something. That law doesn't affect the other kingdoms, but if I took you with me, they would look for us. That's why I realized something. They won't look for you if there aren't people looking for us. At that, Climb opened his eyes in shock, imagining what happened. Renner, that's why I met with those who hate my father the most and gave them everything to attack with the only condition that they would not attack you or me. That is the story of how we will be together again. Climb, you're crazy. Renner, crazy for you, my love. I know I made a mistake, but if you don't love me, I will teach you to love me forever. Renner began to leave while Climb yelled at him, and he got tired. Then he began to analyze the place, but by the moonlight he saw something he would never want to imagine: the head of his wife, and not only that but of several girls who were his girlfriends or friends. Time skip. After thousands of tortures, Climb succumbed to Renner, and she was happy and freed him, making a beautiful couple according to her, but they never had children because apparently Renner was infertile. But she didn't feel sadness. She didn't feel anything, and now they would live happily until their death. But it was not like that. Young Climb, being so tormented he could not take it anymore and committed suicide. Out of the dream. Issei woke up all sweaty and shaking from that dream. Issei, what was that? It wasn't just a dream, what could it be? Issei didn't sleep that night, thinking that it was that dream, not knowing that it was one of his past lives and the beginning of all the pain. Chapter 12. More Nightmares. Issei was in his room looking at the sky, thinking what it meant. He stopped thinking about it and looked in the mirror, seeing huge dark circles. He decided that he would go back to sleep because not sleeping was taking its toll on him. Dream. In what seemed like ancient Japan, where magic was just beginning to develop and there were only a few hundred people who could use magic, but this was unique because each one had a unique magic. In the eastern part of Japan there was the Fox clan. Very lethal warriors in combat due to their stealth and training. But the bad thing is that at this time there were many fights against clans, but the twins of Yin and Yang stood out. They were known for their great coordination in battle and their powers, since the older brother controlled the darkness, and the youngest controlled the light called Akira. But in reality they were not blood brothers because young Kai was adopted. One day he appeared at the door of the clan chiefs and they raised him. Then his second daughter Akira was born, but she did inherit her father's gifts and was born with the affinity of light, while Kai learned it was not natural because he worked hard to control the shadows. They were currently in conflict with the Wolf clan, but there was a solution that would benefit both hands and would not shed unnecessary blood. It was to marry Kai with his daughter Akeno. That her ability was to maximize her resistance, attack among others, but what made her more lethal was her taiga, or known as a poison that kills almost everything and gave you a curse. That is why she was very feared. The leaders of both clans accepted the proposal. Akeno was the happiest because she proposed the marriage, and now they will become one clan. On the other hand, Akira was the most affected because her beloved brother was going to marry for the good of the clan. He did not refuse, he accepted so as not to shed blood. Kai accepted, and the wedding would be in a week, which would be enough to speed up the whole wedding thing and form an alliance. Instead, Akira planned something very macabre that week. Akira had a very strange dream last night where she was blonde and she was a princess, and by the work of the author her power of light was slowly being contaminated but not losing it completely. If not, she turned white when she was happy and black even stronger than her brother when she lost control, or as she called it, when her love controlled her. Wedding. It was 8 o'clock at night, and everyone was looking forward to the wedding and everyone was celebrating until the priest said the famous phrase, "If anyone stands in the way of this marriage, speak up or forever remain silent." No one said anything, but Akira stood up and approached his brother. Kai thought he would congratulate him, but he never expected the next thing. Akira threw a dart with sedative at him. Kai removed the dart and knelt down. Everyone stood on guard, but then they saw thousands of lions all over the room except where Kai, Akira and Akeno were. At that, a click was heard and all the people fell dead in a large pool of blood before the astonished gaze of Kai and Akeno. "Akira, it seems you didn't die, Hitch." "Akeno, what's wrong?" "Akira, nothing, I'm just claiming what's mine." "Kai, why?" "Mom and Dad, what did they have to do with this?" "Akira, a lot. They gave you to this Hitch and they knew of my feelings. You and I were going to get married when I turned 18. In other words, in 2 months you and I were going to be husband and wife, but the idiots from the Wolf clan came and wanted war, and they offered you as a deal. They took you away from me." "Kai, stop this, Akira. If you loved me, stop this, please." "Akira, no, honey, you and I will leave." "Akeno, over my dead body." "Akira, with pleasure." Akira put on her mask, and to Kai's surprise she used darkness and left a large cut from Akeno's shoulder to her waist. Then to Kai's surprise, Akira disappeared and appeared behind Akeno with his sword unsheathed, and a click was heard. Thousands of cuts appeared on Akeno's body, killing her. "Akari, now free us from that Hitch, honey." "Kai, stop this, please." "Akira, no, honey. But before we go I will kill everyone from the Kitsune and Wolf clan to prevent them from looking for us, okay?" Akira disappeared and Kai stood still and began to crawl towards Akeno's sword. Time skip. Akira had arrived where his brother was and saw him with his sword in his hand. "Akira, you don't plan on fighting in that state?" "Kai, I don't know that I would die if I fought." "Akira, then drop that sword, it has a very strong poison." "Kai, that's the purpose." Kai in a quick movement took off the top of the yukata, scaring Akira, who ran at full speed to stop him. But for Akira everything was in slow motion, watching how his brother gave him a smile and stuck the sword in his navel. "Akira, why?" Akira at that moment began to cry as he watched the poison quickly enter his nervous system, and his veins turn black. "Kai, it's for your own good. Without me you won't kill or anything. Besides, I want to go with father and mother, and not become a lifeless person." Kai spat blood from his mouth, and saw his brother for the last time and closed his eyes. Akira screamed like never before and destroyed everything around him as he watched the body of his beloved on his knees with the sword stuck in his navel. Akira, don't worry, I'll follow you to the death. Both young men could be seen pierced by the same sword as the moon turned blood red. Akira, we will meet again. End of the dream. Issei for some reason did not wake up and continued sleeping. New dream. A new goddess was born. This was the god Quetzalcoatl, because gods are born from the desire of humans, and this was no exception. At first, she was a very arrogant goddess who did not give her blessing to anyone if they did not offer her something of the same value, according to her. One day a young man came to her to learn magic. Since he had no magic, the boy asked her on his knees, but she denied him. This young man named Issei, a young man hated by everyone for being a nobody without magic. He wanted to get the blessing of the most powerful goddess according to him. But she never paid attention to him, despite that he never left her side and accompanied her on her trips. Although she despised him more than once, the will of this boy was enormous. But when you don't value what you have, you don't value it because you think it will always be at your disposal, but sooner or later it will leave you or someone will snatch it away from you. Quetzalcoatl was alone without anyone in a hotel in a town where many adventurers came because there were many monsters and they could hunt them easily. But why was she alone and Issei was not with her? As always, despite sleeping on the floor or outside, he was always there for her, but today was different. Quetzalcoatl was worried about him and looked for him until a man guided him to where he might be, but what worried him most was that it was a morgue. She thought that some relative had died without knowing the truth. When he entered, he found an older man and a teenager looking at a body covered with a blanket. Quetzalcoatl, where is he? The man who guided her just pointed to the blanket and left. Quetzalcoatl felt his heart stop beating and saw everything very slowly as he got closer to the corpse. When she pulled out the blanket, she clearly saw the corpse. She saw Issei with his classic smile. She began to cry unconsciously. Quetzalcoatl, what happened? Elderly man, the young man died protecting my granddaughter. Granddaughter, I went to look for some medicinal plants, but I don't know how a very high-level ogre came. I started to run, but he cornered me when I thought I would die the wine and made a cut with his sword. Quetzalcoatl, the sword of Issei, and it was covered in blood. Granddaughter, he told me to leave and I was about to do so, but 4 of them appeared and he told me to get behind him. I saw how he defended himself and killed the 5 of them with his sword, but he was very serious. The last thing he said was, "Tell my friend that I promised to get back with her. Sorry for not keeping my promise." At that moment he closed his eyes and I brought him back with the hopes that he was still alive, but he had died. The teenager began to cry while Quetzalcoatl simply remained silent. Quetzalcoatl, wake up. Issei, sniff, stop joking. Sniff, I don't like these jokes. Sniff, please, I will give you my blessing. Yes, I will train you as you wanted, but wake up. Quetzalcoatl began to cry in Issei's chest as he screamed in pain for losing the only loved one he had, because no one approached him due to his reputation for arrogance and treating everyone badly. Quetzalcoatl, you said that if I took care of myself and improved my domains you would be with me forever. Sniff, I swear that my domains will be the best. Come back. Let's keep your promise. The teenager approached and put a hand on his shoulder, but Quetzalcoatl hit him very hard, crashing him into the wall. At that moment she made a barrier so that no one would see or hear this. Quetzalcoatl, it's your fault. If it weren't for the fact that you were irresponsible and you went so far away, he wouldn't have helped you. He would still be with me. Quetzalcoatl in a sea of tears began to claim them while casting spell after spell full of fury until not even ashes remained of the grandfather and his granddaughter. She slowly approached Issei's corpse and touched his face as some tears fell down her face. She took the body and traveled to her private temple in a transport circle. As soon as he entered, he went to the most beautiful garden under the shade of a tree. He made a grave with his hands, not caring that his nails would break. Because of so many tears he delayed until midnight. On a full moon he buried the body and put a tombstone with his name. Quetzalcoatl took out a bottle of wine and spoke to the grave. Quetzalcoatl, you told me to stop drinking. You take care of everything for me. This will be the last time I drink, okay? Quetzalcoatl closed his eyes, red from crying so much, opened the bottle of wine and poured it over his head while laughing and looking at the sky. Time skip. Several years passed, and this goddess became the kindest of all and gave her blessing to anyone who saw good intentions and was training some young people who wanted her help, but one asked something that opened a scar. Young man 1, Quetzalcoatl-sama, whose tomb is this? The young man pointed to a tree and beneath it was Issei's tombstone. Quetzalcoatl approached and saw the tomb. Quetzalcoatl, you see, a long time ago I met a very kind young man, and despite everything I did to him, he told me that if I improved my attitude, helped many people and improved my domains, he would stay by my side forever. Starts to cry. I still hope he comes to fulfill his promise. Quetzalcoatl began to cry while smiling and everyone hugged her. Young man 2, can you show us a photo of yourself? Quetzalcoatl, clear. Quetzalcoatl went to her bedroom and took out a book full of photos of her and Issei. Young man 6, Quetzalcoatl-sama, are you sure it's him? Quetzalcoatl, if I'm sure, why? Young 9, he looks a lot like the prince of a city in India. Quetzalcoatl, you must be confused. Young 9, no, look. The young man took a photo where Issei appeared, but his hair was different, but it was his Issei. Quetzalcoatl looked at the photo as he cried more and covered his mouth to avoid screaming. Quetzalcoatl, where did you get this photo from? Young man 8, he and I come from that city. We'll give you the location if you want to see it for yourself. Quetzalcoatl, yes, thank you very much. Time skip. Evening. Quetzalcoatl was next to Issei's grave, not knowing what to do, while she thought that maybe, and only maybe, that is her Issei, and with all the pain in her heart she opened the grave, but there was nothing, my dust or anything. She was so happy that same night she closed her temple, and said she would be absent for a few months to relax. She disguised herself so that she would not be recognized and saw with her own eyes a young man named Buddha, just like her Issei, only with a few details. She approached and spoke to him. Buddha looked at her confused. Buddha, do I know you? Quetzalcoatl, you don't remember me. Buddha, no, I'm sorry to tell you that I don't remember her, but we know each other now, but I have to go. Quetzalcoatl stayed still in that place with her eyes watering and decided to go to the library of the gods and read something that made her happy, because according to a very old book some people are reincarnated because they died unjustly or suffered a lot. It was last night. Quetzalcoatl was so happy, but he didn't know how to approach him. That same night Quetzalcoatl found 2 people in front of him. One was Renner and the other was Akira. Quetzalcoatl, who are they? Akira, we are you. Quetzalcoatl, I'm serious. Renner, same as you. In that, many more women appeared behind Akira and Renner, implying that they did not only fall in love twice, but many more times. Akira touched his forehead, and suddenly thousands of memories appeared in the mind of Quetzalcoatl, who knelt down. Akira, do you remember? Quetzalcoatl stood up and looked at all the shadows that were there. Quetzalcoatl, we must obtain our beloved at all costs, haha. End of dream. Issei woke up very sweaty while little by little thousands of memories of his previous lives entered his mind and he cried unconsciously. Thousands of memories of endings, where his beloved never went crazy, but there were very few cases, but the cases of madness were so many that he did not even want to count. Issei, she is behind everything. Issei stood up and reported that there would be an emergency meeting. Chapter 13. Who is the Reincarnation? Issei was thinking about who Quetzalcoatl could have reincarnated until Zeus told him that he was ready. Issei, when he arrived, saw all the leaders of countries or factions. Michael, why did you call us so hastily? Issei, we know who the traitor is in this case. Xerxes, who is it? Issei, is the goddess Quetzalcoatl. Mexico. But that goddess is dead because her home is abandoned and she has not been heard from for more than centuries. Issei, and you are not mistaken, she perished. Ilea, so how can she be a traitor if she is dead? Issei, what I will tell will not leave these 4 walls. Narrated by Issei. A long time ago, when I was born and raised, I met the goddess Quetzalcoatl. At that time he said he knew her, but no, now I understand why I am a reincarnation of millennia. Xerxes, wait, what? Issei, I don't know, but for some time now I have had nightmares where I am conceived. I grow up and I meet some woman and we are a couple, but in the end something happens and we break up, but she goes crazy and ends up kidnapping me, or kills me, but rare are the cases where she doesn't make a mistake or something separates us. I will continue. After meeting her, she became a very good friend, but she always hated that I approached other women and there were always 1 or 2 corpses with traces of torture. I did not suspect her. After that, my older brother got sick from something unknown. At that moment I understood the value of the vine and I left my kingdom. And you know the story until I ascended to deity, and she and I became very good friends. They even told us that we would make a very nice couple. Some time passed until I discovered that my brother's death was not natural, and I investigated with her help. I later found that the plant that caused those symptoms was found in the region where Quetzalcoatl ruled. I went immediately to her, and a merchant was selling them illegally, but he didn't speak. Even though I threatened him, he didn't say anything. We left very disappointed, but I felt relief in Quetzalcoatl. Then I came back at night without anyone seeing me. I promised the merchant my protection and wealth of all, and he decided to talk and gave me a name. I never imagined that the cause of everything was Quetzalcoatl. When I was about to leave, I felt a pain in my neck. The last thing I saw was Quetzalcoatl with empty eyes. I didn't feel anything in her. When I woke up, I found myself in a basement tied with magical ropes that drained any kind of magic or ability, negating them. I saw Quetzalcoatl. She told me that she would not lose me, not again. Now I understand what she means. After that, she started my torture. She raped me every day, then she beat me, cut me, stabbed me, drowned me, burned everything in order to be faithful to her. 10 years passed until one day the gods Odin, Zeus, and Elohim appeared. They freed me and we fought her, but we were nothing compared to her, and that Elohim suggested to separate her body from mine so we would avoid her reincarnation or any kind of coming back to life. I used my hatred for the first time, and my Rokudo became an Oz for remembering my brother, and we fought. We gave everything of ourselves. When Quetzalcoatl was about to take me, I preferred death. I embraced it, and asked Elohim to cut us with my sacred weapon. He refused, but in the end he accepted, and using all his power he directed her to Oz and made a clean cut, and in my last moments of life I swore to return, and they separated the mind from the body. End of narration. Issei, that is the truth of the goddess Quetzalcoatl, but I guess her mind came back and she planned everything. Odin, I remember that battle was very hard, but who could reincarnate? Issei, most likely a human, but it could be in a faction. So tomorrow I will go to each faction to look for their presence. Zeus, but what's wrong with you? I don't want you to die again. Issei, I'm stronger since that time, don't worry, and if it relieves you I'll go with the DXD team and Valeri Lucifer's group for greater security, okay? Odin, that sounds better to me, we can all go. Issei, tomorrow at noon we will meet in the center of Qua. Issei left without knowing that tomorrow his suffering would begin. Time skip. Issei was in the park where his first girlfriend killed him, reviewing his entire life. In that all the people I mentioned arrived. Issei, I want you to keep discretion. Issei transported everyone to Asgard and saw Brunhild alongside Gaul. Issei, how long, Buchan? Brunhild, yes, we haven't seen each other for a long time. Issei, if you wanted to see some things, Odin surely told you. Brunhild, yes. In that, Brunhild sees a mid-rank Valkyrie in that group. Brunhild, what is a Valkyrie doing with you? Issei, Odin left her in the human world and she joined the demons. Her name is Rosweiss. I'm not mistaken. She's mid-range or not? Gaul, yes, Issei-sama. Issei, I told you many times, call me Issei or Issei Galchan. Gaul, nervous, yes, Issei-kun. Issei, better, well, I'll keep watching, they'll be visiting, I don't care. Rias, it's like you don't care about us. Issei, I just brought them to pretend that I would be safe or they wouldn't let me do this, bae. Issei began to leave while his companions watched him leave. Time skip. Issei was walking until he found a very peculiar face. It was Jacqueline. Issei approached and gave him a scare, making him drop all the purchases he had. Jacqueline, hi Issei-sama, nice to meet you. Issei, leave the formalities, Jacqueline-chan. Making this one blush. Jacqueline, what brings you here? Issei, nothing important, just a question. You met me a long time ago, and you torture me so that you love me. Jacqueline, what do you say? How could I? Issei, it was not just a question. How about we walk around here? I'm bored. Jacqueline, okay, let's have tea. My house is near here. When they arrived at Jacqueline's house, he saw everything very tidy. Issei, and tell me why you are alive. Jacqueline, you see, when I revived, they gave me the option of going to hell or being here and redeeming my sins, and you know what I did. Issei, yes, and tell me how your eye works. Jacqueline, I don't know, it just lets me see the emotions. In fact, up until now, the color I liked the most was fear. Issei, you liked it. Look at me and tell me what you think. Jacqueline just nodded and took off her glasses, and when she saw him, she blushed and surprised. Well, what he saw was a very pure love, even greater than that of Hercules. But this was not just love, this was a rainbow of different colors. Issei, what do you think? Jacqueline, great, amazing, the most beautiful color I've seen so far. Issei, I'm glad you like my color. We'll see each other next time. Issei left without seeing Jacqueline's somewhat grim smile, and then she dialed the number. Issei, when he arrived, saw all his companions at Brunhild's house. Issei, it's time to go. Brunhild, okay, see you next time. Issei opened a portal and left with his companions, and Brunhild made a smile that scared Gaul and dialed the number. And so Issei went to each faction to see, but found nothing until he reached the yokai. Issei entered the palace and informed that he would go to investigate, and left. Issei was investigating for half an hour until he received an urgent message from Michael saying that they attacked many places where they hid the Holy Grail and were now attacking heaven. Issei, so they attacked all the places at the same time. So only some would go, and it would be easier to steal the pieces than ingenious ones. Issei went straight to his companions and opened a portal, and they quickly left in the sky. Issei, when he arrived, saw many soldiers fighting, but he concentrated and saw that Kurumi and Lilith were on the top floor of the sky. He quickly left there with his companions while eliminating enemies in the process. When they arrived, they saw a wounded Gabriel on the floor, just like Azazel. The only ones standing were Cynthia, Zeus, and Michael. Michael, how dare you tread on sacred ground? Kurumi, with my authority. Michael, damn it. Lilith, I see you've already come, darling. Issei, yes, I came to kick your asses. Kurumi, I would like you to do that in bed, but I have a better plan. Lilith, we know you are superior to us, that's why we brought a hostage. Then a portal opened, showing something that shocked everyone present. It was Chiwa tied to a chair asleep. Issei, shocked. How? Lilith, I wouldn't kill her, after all she matters a lot to you, so if you move a single muscle she dies. Issei stood still and sat on the floor. Issei, I'm sorry Zeus-chan, but I won't be able to help. Zeus, I understand you, boy. They continued fighting with them, but when they were not looking, Issei grabbed Chiwa and removed the sleep spell. When Chiwa saw Issei, he kissed her, and they continued like that until Issei opened his eyes in shock when someone pierced his abdomen. Issei, why? Chapter 14. Everything makes sense. Issei knelt down and saw Chiwa in front of him with what looked like a knife that had poison. Issei, why? You, what did they do to you? I can help you. Chiwa, haha, you help me, my Issei, I must help you, so that you learn to love me. Issei, you are Chiwa, I don't feel any illusions about you or anything that happened to you. Chiwa, what do you think if I tell you what happened when you left that warehouse? At that, everyone stopped fighting just to listen. Chiwa narrates. You see, when you were no longer in range, I was determined to kill her and me, but I was afraid of never seeing you again. I pressed the button and everything exploded, but something strange happened. My body was intact, but hers was somewhat damaged. She asked me what I did, and I didn't know what to do, but my head started to burn like never before. And then I remembered what we were, you, and I started to laugh like never before. Then she took off her costume and told me who I was. At that moment I told her that my name varied between times, but the Most recent was Quetzalcoatl, and I was going to kill her and return with you, but I realized something, and it is that no matter what I do and how much I try, you always get away from me, and this time I would not allow it, so I offered her if she would help me look for some elements, you and I will be happy forever. End of narration. These words left everyone in shock. Issei, why did you look for those sacred objects? Chiwa, after all, you won't remember anything. The Ragnarok sword to be able to fill it with the power of a time magic user, in this case kurumi, and make a break and manage to travel in time to the moment of your birth. Then use the Trishula to create a new world and we live in there, and last but not least use the Holy Grail to have eternal life so that we are happy forever until the end of the universe, and obviously seal your memories of your previous reincarnations. None of this will happen, and this reality will be destroyed since without you the Triaxa will kill them. Perfect, right? Issei, but the seal? Chiwa, it was broken by the years, and when Elohim died the seal weakened and escaped. Issei, but you are the consciousness and not the power that has your power. Is it Kurumi or Lilith? Chiwa, you are wrong, my beautiful Issei. Lilith, do me a favor. At that, Lilith with a quick movement brought Revel in front of Chiwa. Issei, impossible. Chiwa, well, believe it. Issei, Revel, I know you don't love me, come with us. If you reject her, she won't fuse with you. Chiwa, come on Revel, if you join me, our power will be so great that it will be ours forever. Issei, you don't love me and I know it. Revel, come with me. Revel, I don't love you? Of course I love you. I always regret that day I rejected you. Tell me Chiwa, if we join we will have Issei forever. Chiwa, yes, if we join together we will use the power of Triaxa to travel through time, and we will have it forever. Issei, I didn't hear it. Revel. Revel, I accept Chiwa-san. Revel and Chiwa put their hands together, and a large stream of fire surrounded them when Siso felt an enormous power and Ravel's new appearance was seen. Note much more quality breast. Issei, Revel? Revel, of course my cute Issei, and now it's time to go. In a quick movement Revel knocked him out and carried him. Zeus, I won't let you take him, damn it. At that, Zeus' bodyguards, Athena and Artemis, stood behind Zeus, but they put their weapons on his neck, just as Lady Loki did the same with Odin. Odin, you are betraying your father. Lady Loki, look on the bright side, I found the man you so wanted for me. Odin, this is not the way. Zeus, what's wrong with you two? Artemisa, father, I finally found the man you wanted me to have, and I did what Mom said to get him, no matter the method, and I know she will help me because she loves him as much as I do. Zeus, my ex with Issei, that does surprise me and more because of his character, but I won't let them do this. Athena, wanna bet? Revel, girls, I already have everything planned. Let's achieve the goal that was offered to us. Don't waste this opportunity. You know you want it just like I do. At that, several girls began to stand up and take Ravel's side, surprising many. Next to Revel were positioned first Rias with her entourage, and to Odin's surprise Rosweiss went with Revel along with Jacqueline, who was supporting in this mission, and next to them began to walk Brunhild, then her two sisters, Sona and her queen, Sarah Fall, to the surprise of those present Graphia and her son, Cynthia, Lady Loki, Athena, Artemis, and on behalf of the humans they saw how Kiryu, Kates and Murayama began to join them, Valeri Lucifer with Kuroka, Yasaka with Kunu and Gabriel. Odin, what are you doing there? Brunhild, I'm sorry Odin Dano, but my Issei is there and I can't waste this opportunity. Jacqueline, I am grateful for the opportunity to live, but I have always been interested in that peculiar color and I realize that I love it, and I don't plan on losing it. Xerxes, what are you doing there, sister and Graphia? Rias, I won't miss the opportunity to be with my Issei. Graphia, I'm sorry Xerxes, but I no longer feel anything for you. Instead, Issei always helped me in everything, even taking care of Milikas. Xerxes began to cry. Zeus, what are you doing there, Cynthia? Were you a traitor? Cynthia, I will not lose this opportunity that was given to me, and I am not interested in the methods. Athena, I say the same thing as them. Artemis, yes, what they said. Asmodeus, Sarah Fall, what are you doing here? Come and bring your sister and her queen. Seraphal, I'm sorry, but I'm where I should be. I already ignored the love of my life once and I won't do it again. Saji, what are you doing there, Kaicho? Sona, don't you see, I'm leaving with the love of my life? Saji, but I love you. Sona, I never loved you and I never showed you much affection, so please leave it like that. Saji started crying. Michael, Gabriel, what are you doing here? Come with us. Are you turning your back on your people? Gabriel, my people, you say, the same ones who reproached Issei because according to them he was weak. I was always interested in him, but you never let me meet him. Michael just hung his head. Then little by little each one asked their questions until they all decided on Issei. Revel, thank you very much, girls. I promise that Issei will start loving us forever. Only us. Revel created a magic circle to leave. Zeus tried to get there but couldn't. Chapter 15. Good Ending. In an unknown place, Issei was waking up. He looked around and was in a bed, but he had shackles with many seals of magic or force. This one moved for a few minutes, but then got bored of that and lay down. He waited a few minutes until his enemies entered. He was surprised to see some of them. Some he already expected, but some he didn't. Issei, what am I doing here? Revel, isn't it obvious? You will stay here until we complete our plan. Issei, are you sure? What if I do this? Issei tried to summon his sacred weapon but instead received a gigantic amount of lightning that circulated through his body, leaving him kneeling and smoking. Then he realized that he had a necklace. Issei, what did they do to me? Revel, we won't risk losing you, so we take measures. Issei, the others will stop more, they will stop their madness. Revel, madness? This is not madness, this is love. Issei, of course it's not love. Revel reacts, I know she does something to you. Revel, she helped me complete my goals. There are no longer two parts. Now there is only one whole. And we want to have you. Issei, you can have me but don't cause a genocide. Revel, it is necessary, how about they take you away from us? Revel left there with the other girls. Issei didn't know what to do. Right now he wished he hadn't met her in the first place. He could only wait to see what his friends would do. The girls were gathered in a room where the weapons they stole were. Revel, surely they will wait for us. That's why the plan is simple. We release the Triaxa to weaken them. Then we go into action, and when everyone is tired we seal the Triaxa. We use its power to use it on the Ragnarok sword to travel in time. We take little Issei. We eliminate that timeline, and as a consequence it is there, but it is a small cost that I am willing to pay. After that we use the Trishula to create a world for ourselves, and with the Holy Grail we will live with it forever. They all agreed with his plan. Location: Leaders' Meeting Room. Searches: what shall we do? Zeus: they will most likely go to Triaxa to use it. Michael: but the only two people who can help us are against us. The one who can beat us is Issei. Even if it hurts me to say this, we are useless without them. Odin: you finally accept your reality. But it is not time for negativity. I have an idea. Listen carefully. Just a safe place where she could take Issei, and I'm sure you Zeus suspect the same. Zeus: yes, we will go to the ancient temple of Quetzalcoatl. Azazel: and the plan? Zeus: the only way to do it right is Odin: rescue Issei and then seal Revel. Razor: but she's my sister. Odin: your sister wants to destroy our timeline. We will all cease to exist. Razor: but they will only take Issei. Zeus: I remind you who prevented a war between heaven and hell, who created the seal of the Triaxa, and that is a small amount of what she did. Plus she will surely think that we are a danger to her plans and will eliminate us at any cost. No one spoke for their words. Michael: and what is the only way to beat it? Odin: you see, it will be simple. One group must distract and another rescue. It is the only way. In terms of power, they will destroy us. Everyone nodded at those words, but a guard runs in saying that the Triaxa was released. Searches: get everyone ready, we'll go right away. Everyone prepared their armies to fight except the yokai, who was convinced by Michael. When they arrived they saw a Triaxa being beaten by Revel. Revel: Or they already came. I thought they would take a little longer, but I'm almost done. At that, Revel created some magic threads and tied them to the Triaxa. Revel, play with my pet. They all started fighting, and Revel didn't realize that Zeus and Odin were missing and that those who were there were illusions. Revel used the Triaxa to further humiliate the factions. But in his temple was an Issei looking at the sky while thinking what to do. Then Rias comes in to see him. Rias, hello, sweetheart. Issei, don't call me that. Rias, why? Issei, I don't know. Maybe years of psychological and physical abuse are nothing, plus many of my friends disappeared overnight. Rias, how? Issei, one day I felt your aura on the bodies they found, why now? If you had so much time to enter my heart, I declared myself to you, but you rejected me, why now? Is it because of my power rank? Rias, it's not because of any rank or power, I love you for who you are. I was a spoiled girl in those years and I only thought about breaking up my marriage and myself, but when you supported me despite everything I fell in love with you little by little, but seeing you with those hitches only my body reacted, and that same day I killed them, but it was for our own good. Issei, but then why did you reject me? If you loved me so much, why did you do that? Rias cries, I don't know. Only when it happened my heart stopped beating. I wanted to scream yes, but fear ran through my body. I didn't know what to do. My status, my family wouldn't know what to do, and I rejected you, but Issei, I know enough. You abandoned me just because of your rank and prestigious family, right? Coming from a demon, it doesn't surprise me. Rias was crying. She didn't know what to do, but then Akeno arrived, very agitated. Kendo, the god Zeus and Odin entered. We must stop them. Rias nodded and they left, closing the door. Rias was thinking about what to do. He was already doubting whether he was doing good or bad. When they arrived, they saw Zeus in his adamantine form and Odin with his spear emanating great power. Odin, we must stop this madness. The girls without hesitation began to attack, but the result was obvious. When they arrived at the room, they saw Issei lying down eating sweets and watching TV. Issei, at last. Odin, let's go, boy. Issei, there is a seal on this necklace. If I don't take it off, it will warn Revel that I want to escape, but I will get electrocuted. If I take it off, I still don't know what we'll do. At that point, a somewhat wounded Rias entered, putting Zeus and Odin on guard. Rias, I come in peace. I know I did wrong, but I hope with this you forgive me, Issei. Rias had a key in her hand and freed Issei and fainted in Issei's arms. Issei, take her to a safe place. Odin, and you? Issei, I will end this madness. Issei quickly transported himself to the battlefield and found all the armies defeated and in the middle a Triaxa being sealed in Odin's sword. And he stared at Kurumi, Lilith and Revel, the three main ones who started this madness. Revel, how do you free yourself? Issei, a magician does not reveal his secrets. In that he sees the leaders at the girls' feet all injured and Azazel without 2 pairs of wings just like Michael and Xerxes without his 2 demon wings. Issei, you look bad, effeminate redhead. Xerxes, it's good that you came. Azazel, finish this quickly, boy. At that the 3 of them fainted from the pain. Lilith, you would have loved its fruits, they were so pleasant. Issei did not respond and only limited himself to invoking his sacred treasure. Lilith took the Trishula, Kurumi grabbed Odin's sword and Revel summoned a blue fire, and from it a sword emerged. The first to attack were Lilith and Kurumi. Kurumi gave a downward slash that Issei easily dodged, followed by another, and another until he did great damage avoiding Lilith's thrust. After that he changed his Rokudo, Ahimsa's shield, to protect himself from a flare coming from Revel and changed his weapon again. He used his sword to try to cut Kurumi, but she defended herself with another slash and a fencing battle began where Issei dominated thanks to his eyes. He then used his sword to stop another thrust from Lilith and another, and then moved so fast that the conscious soldiers could not see his movements. Then I quickly dodged a thrust from Revel. Revel, you're still so good at this, sweetheart. Issei, we'll see, it's time to end all the suffering you cause us. Issei used the final form of his weapon to give his last attack. When he was about to make the final blow, he felt something enter his eye. At that, he stepped back and saw how Revel had pierced his eye, causing him to grab his eye with his hand. Revel, you are good, but I am better. Revel began to attack desperately, not giving much time to dodge and worrying Issei because he couldn't see his future. Issei jumped back to get away from her. Issei, why can't I see your future? Revel, I don't know. I guess you do. At that, Issei used his shield to try to stop Ravel's thrust, but this caused it to crack and break. Issei, how? Revel, it's time to end this. Revel was about to knock out Issei with one last blow and complete her objective. But everything happened in slow motion for Issei. He watched as Zeus was being pierced by Ravel's sword. Zeus spat out blood, staining Issei a little. Issei, why? Cries. Zeus, is it what a father does for his son or not? Zeus fell to the ground with a sharp blow, scaring Issei. Revel, damn old man, don't ever get in my way again. Issei saw the motionless body of Zeus, and at that moment he exploded with anger never before seen in his person, and the fragments of the Rokudo began to go to him, and gathered into a sword never seen before. Issei looked at his sword and saw Revel, and quickly made a slash that Revel instinctively dodged. The entire rear of Revel was cut in two, even a nearby mountain was split in two. Issei, this ends here and now. Lilith appeared behind Issei to try to stab him, but Issei easily dodged and slashed, splitting the Trishula in two. Lilith was surprised by this but was knocked out with one blow by Issei. Issei, one goes, two are missing. Issei then transported himself behind Kurumi and knocked her out, but before falling she threw the Ragnarok sword at Revel. Revel, we see who will win, it will be like years ago. Issei, it won't be the same, this time I will definitely defeat you. Issei went to Revel and imitated the action. Both of them clashed their swords, creating a large shock wave. Then Revel tried to stab Issei, but he stopped the sword easily and hit her with the handle. Revel did not react and received the impact, crashing to the ground. Issei, give up, you know you can't fight me. Revel, you will never belong to me, and if you are not mine you will not belong to anyone. Revel went straight to Issei and tried to stab his heart. Issei moved to the side and Revel fell by inertia and was knocked out. At that point Odin came with Rias, now more recovered, but she began to cry when she saw Zeus's corpse. Odin, he gave his life for you. Issei, yes, he will be remembered as a hero. Issei carried Zeus' body. Time skip 19 years. Issei was in a tomb that said Zeus. Issei, hi old man, how are you? I guess I'm fine, I married Rias, who would say no, and I have 2 beautiful daughters. Well, the girls are still bad, I sealed Ravel's power, and well, they are all in a rehabilitation house to get better, but there is no progress, and that would be all old man, I just came to leave you some flowers. Issei began to retreat, and at the entrance of the cemetery you could see 2 16-year-old teenagers and Rias Gremory. Chapter 16, Neutral Ending. We are at the beginning. Issei was sitting on the bed, and he got up and started looking around the room to try to escape. At that the door is opened by Seraphal and Gabriel. Issei stood on guard but saw how Seraphal and Gabriel did not come out of madness, they felt fear and their own resentment. Issei, what do you want? Seraphal, Issei-kun, you see, we didn't want this but we were desperate, you don't know how much we love you. Gabriel, yes Issei-kun, we always wanted to tell you but we were afraid that you would reject us. Issei, so when I declare myself why they said no, what are they looking for with this? Leave me alone. Gabriel, wait, when you did it Sniff I was so happy just like Seraphal, but a Seraphim and a Mao with a human we were scared. Seraphal, yes Sniff, what if something happened to you? You were human, and if something happened to you Sniff we never forgave ourselves for losing you, and that was the only thing that went through our minds. Issei began to think, and it was true, they rejected him, although somewhat cruel, but there was a small possibility. Issei, well, I forgive you but I don't trust you. Seraphal, but... Issei, win my trust. Issei hugged them in a beautiful moment, and both girls wiped away their tears. Issei stayed there thinking about how to escape, and maybe with the help of both, maybe there is a chance. But Issei did not suspect that this was another plan. The girls arrived alone where the others were waiting for them. Revel, how did it go? Seraphal, well, since you knew he would believe us. Revel, Issei has the ability to see emotions, and depending on that he sees his near future, and you are very good at changing your aura. Gabriel, and you think Issei falls? Revel, of course, there's not much left, and we'll be able to complete the plan. Keep going like this, girls. Seraphal and Gabriel's smile turned dark and gave off a very bad feeling. Time skip 1 month. This month the relationship between Issei and his 2 friends improved a lot. Issei still thought about escaping, but he needed the help of his friends. And today they would help him. Issei was looking at the full moon when he saw his 2 friends come in, and he smiled. Then the 3 of them started running, but an alarm sounded. They started running faster, but no one came. Issei wondered what was going on and focused on their eyes and realized that they were all in the middle of a battle against the Triaxa being used by Revel and the others watching. Issei hurried, but then a portal opened showing Zeus and Odin. These 2, when they saw Issei, were happy, but when they saw both women they were on guard. But Issei explained everything to them, relieving both gods. Odin, we must go quickly. Revel is. Issei, attacking, if I noticed we'll go immediately. The 5 of them transported themselves to the battlefield, and when they arrived they saw many corpses and the leaders trying to stop that beast, and when it was about to cross Searches. Issei with his shield stopped the beast's claw. Issei, I hope I'm not late for the party. Azazel, of course not, boy, you came at the best time. I'd already weakened him a lot, finishing it fainted. Michael, I'm glad you're here. Sister, what are you doing there? Gabriel, I'm sorry, brother, for letting myself be guided by madness, but I've come to fix my mistakes. Michael just smiled and passed out too. Searches, I'm glad you're reacting. Seraphal. Seraphal, yes, I regret the acts I committed. Searches, I forgive you, just don't kill my sister. I know there is a small chance of saving her. Searches fainted and fell dry on the floor. Revel stood in front of the 5 newcomers. Revel, I see that they betray me. Seraphal, we don't betray anyone, we just do the right thing. Issei, stop this. Revel, I know she is manipulating you, free yourself from her control. Revel, control? I chose this. Issei, when will you understand that I do this for love? Issei, if you don't stop, I'll have to do it. In that the same fight happened as in the other timeline, including the death of Zeus. And when Issei was about to give the final blow, he felt a stab in his stomach. He turned around and saw a sacred spear coming from Gabriel. Issei, why? Gabriel, I'm sorry, darling, but it was necessary. Issei tried to jump back but felt his feet frozen. He turned around and saw Seraphal. Issei, you too? Why are you doing this to me? You tricked me. Seraphal, this was plan B. I'm sorry, Icon, but it was necessary to keep us together. Odin, when he saw this, ran in an attempt to stab Gabriel, but his own sword was stuck in his stomach. He turned around and saw Revel with an unholy smile. When Issei saw that, he was going to use his sword to kill them both, but another sword stopped his thrust. It was Revel who blocked his slash with the Ragnarok sword. Issei knew he would lose and this timeline would be destroyed. I didn't know what to do, thousands of lives would be lost. Revel, it's time to end this. Revel turned around and was about to use the Ragnarok sword to make a cut in space-time and recreate this world and then destroy it. But then Issei caught his attention. Issei, wait. Revel, what do you want, darling? Issei, a kiss. Revel, huh? Blushing. Issei, yes, at least give me a kiss from the woman I love. Revel was about to kiss him, but Issei stopped her. Issei, not about their fusion, no, I'm talking about Revel Phenex, the first woman I loved. Seraphal, I don't think I should. Revel, silence. If I want a kiss, I will give it to you. Revel was covered in a firestorm, and when it disappeared, there were 2 people again. Revel approached and gave him a kiss that Issei reciprocated. At that, Issei took advantage of the moment and grabbed Ragnarok, surprising Revel. Revel, what are you doing? Issei, I know I won't win, but I will end this madness forever. Issei together his sword and the Ragnarok. Revel, what will you do? Issei, I will destroy our souls forever, and so that no one changes that I will take all of you. At that, Revel in a desperate act tried to grab the sword, and when she was about to grab the handle of the sword, a glow covered her, and they disappeared. At that, Xerxes and Michael stood up and managed to hear almost all. The girls' bodies disappeared, but Issei's was fragmented. Xerxes, what did you do? Issei, I destroyed their souls, but as you see, this has consequences. Shows hand. Michael, is there anything we can do? Issei, nothing. Take care of the humans, please. They both started to cry. Michael, I swear on my life. Issei, that's good, and you Xerxes? Xerxes, I swear to you on my life. Issei, that's good. At that, Issei's body begins to dissolve into lotus flowers. Issei, well, it was a pleasure to be with you and heal old Odin. He is still breathing. I would have liked to try a cola candy one last time. They are the best. Issei smiled and finally disappeared, leaving a silence and two crying leaders. After that, they both told him the whole truth. Nobody believed it, but a spell that showed the memories confirmed it. They made a statue of Issei made of gold, and he became a legend among legends. Chapter 17, Bad Ending. In a gloomy place where there was only a small ray of light. In a cell of that gloomy place was Issei crucified on the wall. He was sleeping peacefully until he felt himself getting wet. He woke up quickly and tried to move, but realized his position. He saw Revel in front of him with a bucket of water. Revel, this desperate guy. Issei, where am I? Revel, it's a bit of a secret place, but I think it will bring back some memories. Issei began to analyze the place, realizing that he was in the dungeon that he was confined in a long time ago. Issei began to move desperately as he remembered every torture. Revel, I know you won't love me, that's why the girls and I must educate you. Issei tried to summon his weapon, but nothing happened. Revel, see you in a few days. Revel left, and when she opened the door she saw all the girls, and she closed it again, leaving Issei alone. Issei, what will I do now? Issei calmed down and tried to find something to escape, but the first to enter was Rias. Rias, my dear Issei, I came to help you love each other. Issei, never crazy. Rias, crazy? Crazy for love, honey, let's start your training. Rias took something out of a shelf that scared Issei. Issei, dear Rias, don't you want to do this? Rias, this time I won't fall, darling. Whips against human skin and screams of agony could be heard. Time skip. Rias just left that room and Akeno entered. Akeno, hello my dear Issei, I hope you endure this punishment. Issei looked at Akeno with difficulty and saw how she touched her chains and began to send lightning to the chains, causing her to scream even louder. So little by little each girl entered and applied her respective method of torture. In the end, only Revel was standing in front of a very emaciated Issei, burned, cut, and with thousands of wounds. Revel, all this will end if you surrender to us. Issei just raised his face a little and spat at her, making Revel complain, who grabbed his face and burned his face on the right side, and in the process, from screaming so much, he broke his vocal cords. Revel, I hope that with this you reflect. Revel left the room, leaving a very weak Issei. Issei winked with a frown, I trust you. Issei fainted from so much pain and accumulated stress. Location, Leaders Meeting. The leaders of each faction except the Hindu one, which Rudra was in charge of at the moment. Michael, what are we going to do? Rudra, isn't it obvious? Rescuing Issei is the only one who can defeat that girl. Searches, yes, but we don't know its location. Odin, I have an idea? How about we wait for them to attack and at that moment we go for Issei? I know where he can be. Zeus, I will support you, we will both go. Azazel, how many agree with this plan? Everyone raised their hands, but with some regret, knowing what Issei was suffering. Time skip 1 month. It was a quiet day and everyone was on alert for something, but at the Triaxacil, Revel appeared and began to destroy the seal, and her companions stopped anyone who approached her. The leaders knew what to do and sent their troops. Zeus and Odin went to the temple of Quetzalcoatl to see if he was there. Usually they always found him in the same scene, but when they opened the door there was nothing. He was not in that temple. Issei was in the least expected place, under the Ko Academy. Yes, that same place was always under their noses, but they never realized it. Both gods began to search, but nothing. Location: Battle Oppo. The Triaxa was being controlled by Revel, and with no one to intervene this time, she killed the leaders and absorbed the Triaxa into the sword Ragnarok. Revel: Lilith prepares the new world, and you Kurumi start creating the portal to go to our Issei. Kurumi grabbed the sword and made a cut in the air, breaking the fabric of reality, and that a gap was created where a small Issei of 1 or 2 years could be seen. Kurumi: Ready, Lilith, have you already created the world? Lilith: Almost there. Lilith was creating a new world with everything necessary while Revel was laughing and Kurumi was about to grab little Issei. Lilith: Ready, girls, enter our new world. Lilith showed them a type of window that showed a beautiful house surrounded by animals and trees and somewhat far away but visible sea. The girls entered one by one and only Kurumi was missing. Husoto swung her sword, causing the gap to begin to close, and grabbed little Issei and took him away, in that the whole world of DXD was being destroyed, and she went with the girls to the portal. Location: Academy basement. Issei saw his hand that was beginning to shine and understood that everything was lost. Then the door was opened by Odin and Zeus. Zeus: Looks like we're late. Issei: Don't regret it, it was good while it lasted. In that the world began to disappear little by little until the entire planet was completely destroyed without leaving a trace of its existence. In that all the darkness lights up a little. A scream was heard, causing many footsteps to be heard. What happened to you, my love? Apparently a child was crying. I had a nightmare, where you were bad and hid me with my other sisters. Don't worry, that will never happen, my cute Issei-kun. Issei: Segura Revel 1-chan. Revel: Yes, my cute Issei, I think it's time for you to show us how much you love us. Issei: Okay, I'll do whatever. Revel: Very well, wait for me in the big bed, I will call the others. Issei just nodded and went to the main room. Revel just created a magic circle and warned the others. Issei was lying down until the door opened and he saw his sisters. Issei: Why are they like this? Revel: It's a surprise. Author. Revel: It's time for you to show your affection. Akeno: Yes, my Issei, it's time for you to show all your love. Rias: Yes, my dear Issei, do you want to see us cry? Sona: You don't want your cute sisters to cry, do you? Seraphol: My Sotan is right, Issei-kun. Kuroka: Don't you want to see your kittens happy, Issei Naya? Asia: I think Issei-kun will like this. Irina: Zenobia, and I want to give you a reward for being such a good boy. Yasaka: We are going to pamper you a lot, Issei-kun, or not, daughter. Graphia: I will give you a very good service, Issei-kun. Valeri: Obviously I'll be the first, or not, Issei-kun. Gabriel: Of course not, I'll be the first. Aika: I'm so obsessed. At that point, everyone started fighting over who was first until Issei shouted, Enough! Issei: I love you all very much and I don't know what you want to do, but it doesn't matter who I do it with first, it will be equally important with all of them, okay, so stop fighting. Those words made everyone calm down, and they already know what happened that night. Issei didn't know that all that ground was the life he really had, but now that was his reality.
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.